Futures pointing to a slightly lower open coming up this morning as we set to kick off a very busy week for earnings. We'll get earnings this week from the likes of Tesla, Netflix, Johnson & Johnson, Procter & Gamble, and more, just to name a few. We are getting some lower than expected Chinese GDP data this morning that came out overnight over in China for the third quarter. Disappointing number, 4.9% versus 5.3% growth expectations for Q3 over in China. U.S. 10-year back to the upside this morning as well, back to 1.61. We dipped all the way down to about 1.41, if you remember, at the end of last week. So back to the upside, pressuring some of the tech and growth stocks once again this morning. Overall, though, positive week for U.S. equities last week. The Dow added 382 points on Friday. If you remember, was up 1.5% on the week. The S&P 1.8% on the week, and the Nasdaq 2+%. Speaking of the Nasdaq, Apple on watch today. Unleashed happening at 1 p.m. this afternoon. Whole bunch of new products reportedly set to come, including the possibility of AirPods 3. We'll talk about Apple coming up here, and space back to the downside. Some analyst downgrades after that announcement on Friday. It's Monday, October 18th, 2021. TraderTV.live starts now. And there we go. Look at some red numbers across the board this morning. 0.37 for both the Dow and the S&P. Nasdaq 0.27 to the downside. TSX futures here in Toronto to the downside as well. Brazil open trading lower. Crude, big bump in crude again this morning, 1.5% back into recent high territory for crude oil, Bitcoin and Ethereum. Chopping around a little bit this morning, but what a weekend for cryptocurrencies. Almost got back to, good morning guys, all-time highs for Bitcoin late on Sunday. We got up to above 60,000 for the first time in a long time. So got to watch some of these crypto stocks this morning. Going to be an interesting week. Again, lots of earnings to come. Nothing terribly exciting today, but we'll get some big names later in the week.
Well, yeah, not anything that's terribly exciting today on the earnings front, but there should be some excitement. Some to the downside. We'll talk about Virgin Galactic, which is continuing to head down because that's what it does. But yeah, we get the Bitcoin ETF. That's tomorrow. Futures ETF tomorrow. So that should be interesting. And of course, you mentioned 60,000. So why not holding 60,000, which is key. There we go. We actually have a new one that I probably should have used there. But welcome. I'm not going to win my fantasy matchup this week, but we can win in the markets today. Tesla looking ridiculously strong. A lot on the quote board that doesn't seem like it's absolutely crazy. But one name that we forgot about, but ignored a little bit last week was Coinbase, back above that 280 mark. So it's getting some momentum to it to the upside here, Sean, after being a dog for a while.
Yeah, exactly. We're both already short space. Yeah, Coinbase is going to be a good one. I mean, let's not step in the way of Tesla ever. And those who have learned a lesson. And remember, I was going on that rant. No, it wasn't even really a rant, but about that Michael Burry. And guess what? He's closed his Tesla short. Congratulations on losing however much you lost there, Michael Burry. I can't wait for your next prediction. Right now, space, 1915, 1916 just continues to go down. We were only short twice there on Friday, and it was my number one trade there on Friday, ticking all the way down, making about $1 and change. And then we come back today and we just rinse it again. So now we're going to go short one more time on space, right down to the downside right here. So there goes Virgin Galactic, and then we just talked about Bitcoin, like you mentioned, Brendan. 65, still going to be the top of all time. That'll get taken out later this week. As right now, I mean, we're just rocking and rolling, looking to take it out. We're at 60,001, so 60,887. You can see, I don't know if you can see that, but it doesn't matter. We're just ticking up right now. I think we take out 6304 today, and then we test all-time highs probably tomorrow or the next day on. Again, I think there's 2 new Bitcoin ETFs supposed to be coming. We'll hopefully see if they do make it to the market tomorrow.
Yeah, one following the futures, which is an interesting concept. We'll talk about it a little bit there, but what a move. 20,000 in like a couple of weeks, in a month. Let's, before we go any further, get over to say good morning to Miss V.
Good morning, team. Welcome to a new trading week. I wish you a wonderful day. It's going to be busy, and we are glad you're with us. Please smash the like button, and let's get it started, Brendan.
Let's indeed, guys. Get it started. That is the watch list. We're going to get to that in a little bit, but let's jump into some headlines, guys. Coming up this morning, anyways, we'll talk about this China headline first, because the overall market did get a bit of a move to the downside when this came out. The futures I'm speaking of in overnight trading. The GDP number from China for Q3, lower than expected, 4.9% versus 5.3%. At the same time, we saw the U.S. 10-year move back to the upside again, as I mentioned, 1.61 versus what we were on Friday, around that 1.45, 1.5 area. So, I mean, you know, what, you can't really predict anything that's going to come out of China, but they were expecting much higher for growth in Q3, and that seems to be weighing a little bit on sentiment this morning.
Yeah, and they're still talking a lot in China about sort of further issues with the real estate investment market. Other firms coming under pressure, so you're seeing that contagion leaking into other aspects of their economy, and it's like 25% of their economy is going to be, just in some way the housing and even commercial real estate as well. And it's a large segment, and it might be a bit of a drag, I want to say, overall there. I mean, certainly we were probably due for a bit of a great week last week, so correction as well, or pullback or a slowdown, whatever you want to call it. I'm only looking at BABA today because there is also, and we'll get to the news for Baidu there in regards to some of the Chinese tech names. But I feel that, in light of the economic, I guess, slowdown or disappointment that we're seeing out of China, you then throw in, I guess, the latest regulatory possible push where essentially, they're going to have to allow searches on other like platforms like Baidu for other content. That could weigh on Alibaba as well. It had such a fantastic week last week and was already consolidating. So you start thinking about all the reasons why it may make a bit of a pullback here. And I kind of feel like if we can't test any higher, back into that 170 level, we could have a breakdown coming in something like in Alibaba. It's still a bit of a healthy run, but those that were hoping this thing would continue to 180 all in one shot and then break through there, some signs of why it might slow down starting to come into play. Do I think that if we get a pullback in the market today, does that have to do with Evergrande and the Chinese numbers? Probably a little bit, but it's almost like it's an excuse at this point to pull back after the rally last week.
Yeah, you said 1.8% in the broader market there, the S&P 500. I mean, that's a fantastic week. That's a fantastic month, obviously. And we get that now as a week. So I think the same thing here. I've been talking about buying some FXI. If you've done that, congratulations. We talked about this thing at 38.50 down here. I mean, it's a little bit of a bump. This is just an ETF. This is the Chinese 100. So I think based on that, you can start to fade some of this. If you did think that China is about to turn it around to the downside off that GDP number, I don't think so. I think you got to still buy these Chinese names, and especially if you want to get some sort of, a little bit less risky of an asset here, you could take the FXI. So I do like that. And then I was looking also at, and we'll get to these guys too today off. It's not on the watch list, but Tesla's going to be on there. And I still think NIO has a great opportunity here, as we've already made these bottoms, $33, $34. I mean, what a great bottom that was. And now you're breaking through the 50 period moving average. I really like NIO through $38 here. So we'll see it. It's on the watch list here for $38, $37.50. So please, guys, find the watches if you haven't found it yet at Trader TV Sean. And we already do have space to the downside right here. So you can see. I just tweeted it out. All my shorts, and we'll talk about space when we get there. It's on the watches, but that's the only position I'm in right now.
Yeah, there's going to be a few kind of under pressure here, and a couple other notable downgrades just coming through, guys. This one, Disney, out earlier, but not really doing much. Barclays downgrading Disney, quoting a slowdown in streaming growth. And then over here, this just came out, Credit Suisse cutting the price target on Pinterest, also not doing much. But Disney, interesting. Can't remember the last time Disney, guys, had a downgrade.
Squid Game.
We just talked about Disney. Yeah, I don't know if Squid Game has
I know
with Disney, but yeah, we'll just. I was just saying this to Neil already when we sat down here to begin with, and I just said how disappointing basically Disney's been. It's been dead money ever since. I mean, you can, whatever. I mean, I'm not going to go all the way back here because he did have a run to 200, but let's just say basically it's since May. I mean, if you take the bottom of May here, 168, right? You're basically flat now. I mean, 173, 168, 173. I mean, Disney's been very, very disappointing. However, you know, if the market's going to rebound, which it appears already has in the S&P, I would have thought Disney could have gone with it, but it didn't. So, you know, it's going to be a pure reopen play. The quality is going to be in Disney, so I think you just keep buying any of these dips down in here. I mean, even if you're going to buy, like, it's hard to say, oh, I want to buy 168, but then you don't like 173. I mean, the difference is going to be, you know, minuscule depending on your time frame, of course. But I don't know. I'm not super excited about this name. The downgrade, maybe if the market can, you know, not get its footing right here, then we can come back, you know, to 165-ish. I don't know. I like Disney. I already have a full position on it. So, you know, just down 2% is not going to make me get in there and buy anything else. I prefer J&J. I prefer stocks with some catalysts there. I thought Disney had great catalysts, but I mean, we already sort of are reopening. I do know a lot of friends of mine have already been to Disney or planning to go to Disney. So I think on a reopen, it's a fantastic play. I'm just surprised it's not doing a little bit better than this. I have to read more about that downgrade.
Yeah, it's disappointing, but it's got a couple of things, at least in the short term, that is for the day trade for us looking at it here might be somewhat uninteresting unless you get back up to this all kinds of resistance at 180. You have the 50 period, which is looming lower at 178. I don't think we're testing that this week off of the downgrade. I think that would have been something you put in last week. And maybe you have a look at 168 on the flip side of that, because you know, ultimately you got to trade it inside of the range here. I still think it's a pretty solid in terms of reopen play, that maybe it hasn't gotten the full benefit of it. You said, you know, friends that have been. I know somebody that's been twice already to Disney, and it's like, you know, you would think at some point with, you know, everyone focuses on the streaming for them, but you talk about the parks and then reopening, and then, you know, eventually the cruises getting back online and full board there. They have a lot of revenue sources. They're a good company. It'll be fine in the very, very long term. In the short term, and I hate to say it, it's just you almost can't touch it in the short term. You'd almost want it to break that 168 to have some trading opportunities, because you can see how boring it's been. When it's broken the high side, I think we've gotten the most out of those moves, and it's giving you like $10. If it were to break lower and this market were to really truly pull back, which some could say that it hasn't happened yet, then Disney would be in trouble through 168. I'll be watching that all week.
All right, let's go back to crypto land here, because coming up tomorrow, we're all going to have another option when it comes to how we can approach trading cryptocurrencies, guys. And this is the futures-based ETF. New York Times talking about what it's going to mean, how it's going to trade potentially. Again, this is tomorrow, not today. BITC? BITO will launch tomorrow on the NYSE. Now, anyone who's seen the actual quote of the futures contract that follows Bitcoin can attest to the fact that liquidity is not the greatest, but I mean, overall, you know, what can we expect as far as how this will affect this market?
I don't know. I'm not super excited about the ETF. I mean, I think it's a futures ETF, so it's not going to track the current price of Bitcoin. I mean, obviously, it will track what people feel like, you know, where Bitcoin's going. We've seen Ethereum come out with some ETFs. I mean, there are other, you know, even when Bitcoin's futures first got listed, you know, it didn't really do too much to Bitcoin. But, well, I mean, again, I think there's just so much more to this story than just futures and just like, you know, ETFs and things like that. I mean, Bitcoin is something that needs to be bought, I think, and held in everybody's account. At least, you know, I was saying 5%. I think you can go up to 10%. So it's about that for me right now. And I just think that, you know, you keep buying dips and you know, every time it comes back down into 60 here, a couple times over the weekend, just to show people, you know, we broke above and then we tested and held and tested and held. And then you get this one break right here that happened. I should put volume up here, but I mean, it got bought right back at 59,000 again, right? This is a 5-minute chart. So as you can see, there's lots of movement happening on Bitcoin right now. I still think we get a little bit higher. I mean, this is not, you know, like we could sit here and talk about Bitcoin and why we think it's, or why I think, you know, it's the future and just has to be something that's owned. But at the same time, we're going to talk about this ETF and you know, the futures. I don't know. I think Bitcoin's already made its move here, and we'll just see what happens. I think it's probably worth selling against this future hop here, 65,000. I mean, if you got out right now at 61,000 and you were right, then you could probably buy this thing back in the mid 40s if it does fade out. But you could also get out now and then just put a limit buy in if we break 65,000. So I think, you know, some of the upside here could get capped by this. Remember, a lot of it is buy the rumor, sell the news. So when Bitcoin ETF comes out tomorrow, you know, how that's going to affect the price, I'm not sure, but we'll just wait to see. I think if you're nervous about it, you could take some out and then just get right back in. I don't think there's anything wrong with scalping a little bit of your profits out right now because there's this uncertainty. So that's where I would be at with Bitcoin and this move. I'm not super heavy into Bitcoin. I'm much more into Ethereum and Cardano. So for me right now, it's just wait and see on Bitcoin. But if you are pretty, you know, if you do have a decent position in Bitcoin right now, you could always get out, fearing that, you know, this may be the top. Remember when Coinbase came out, Neil? Yep. I think that was right here. I can almost go back to the IPO date of Coinbase, April. Maybe we could find that out, April, whatever it was, IPO Coinbase date. But April something, and it was mid-April. And then here it comes crashing back down. It got halved there on that Coinbase IPO. So, you know, I don't know if there was any structure news there around Bitcoin, but it did get cut into half. And I'm just wondering if the same thing might happen now, although this is nowhere near, in my opinion, the same effect that the Coinbase IPO had.
Literally, that top was the day before the Coinbase IPO. And like you might have heard me before, I said this, sell the news. And I think we said this last week, sell the news. And it's not to say, it's also a double top recently here, putting in a lower high. There's some technical reasons why you could have a pullback into like 57, but you know, that's what I'd be looking for. 57 or 54, buy that dip, I think makes a little bit of sense in Bitcoin. When these ETFs come tomorrow and there's really not much trading action on them realistically, I think we'll probably see this as an opportunity to have, for some people that are going to be like, oh shoot, it didn't break the all-time high when the ETFs came. Okay, well, we got a dump, and then you take advantage of that when it comes through. I actually was just watching Coinbase break back below 280, so that's another key level gone. Man, Coinbase, can't you just for once hold one of these levels till the open?
All right. I saw a few people talking about this one this morning. I mentioned there wasn't much as far as earnings are concerned, but Albertsons reported, speaking of recent additions going back to last year, Albertsons reporting better than expected quarterly results. They raised their fiscal 2021 outlook and also increased their dividend as well. So nice little bump here for Albertsons this morning. We're trying right now to hold $30 even here, up 5% so far for ACI.
Well, that's a decent move for them. They're not going to be trading like a ton of volume usually, and you guys probably know how I feel. I'll tell you, I love Walgreens for sure, but Albertsons, the chart looks pretty solid if it's going to hold this $30 level. I mean, you can kind of, if I zoom in here maybe a little bit better, there you go. Yeah, zoom in a little bit better. You can see we're actually breaking that 50 period. It's interesting. We got a question this morning. Vivek in the chat was asking, like, do you look at previous support as like resistance and back and forth? And then, yeah, absolutely. Just matters how significant it is. So like when you broke this like 30 areas, more like 29.40 or so. When this got broken eventually, was it a significant break? Yes, it was. And you look at a couple of days here challenging that level, and then what was the top end of that range? Almost exactly $30, and then you see the flush into the downside. So yeah, support to resistance lends yourself to the other side of this coin, which would be right now. We're sitting at that $30. You got the 50 period in the middle of that 29.30, 29.40 range, giving you a potential support area. I do remember how redonkulous Walgreens was when they decided to sell what looked like a great print and much deeper than I would have expected. So in the back of my mind, I'm saying to myself, why couldn't Albertsons do the same thing and pop you all the way back down into 28.50 where it closed and then make a bit of a rally? That's kind of the equivalent of what Walgreens did. It was a bit ridiculous when it did it, but it still made that redonkulous comeback. So it was like an 8% move to the upside after absolutely flushing 6% at the open on what was fantastic earnings. And if Albertsons does the same thing, I wouldn't be surprised, given how low the volume is on this pre-market. All it really takes is a couple of big sells at the open, and then a little bit of panic as it comes back down through that key area we showed on the daily chart. And next thing you know, you're right back at Friday's prices, and then everyone realizes, oh, we actually like this. We like this play. We like this space. We think there's some safety there. Now, I prefer Walgreens. I've said that a million times. I'll be picking. You know what? I'm going to try starting position this week on Walgreens. I like where they're at. I had a great report. But Albertsons, yeah, could be interesting, but I'd rather buy the dip in case people panic at the open.
I was going to say, you got that dip in Walgreens, right? Remember, it was down 9%, and then on Friday, I think it was up 9%, and then Friday down 3 or 4%. So I put in the chat there that you used 2 redonkulousnesses there. So I'm thinking we might need an animation, whatever redonkulousness means.
I don't even know what it is, man.
Exactly, neither do I. So that's why I was hoping that you could tell Rob what a redonkulous animation
He's
looks
already got ideas. He's
Something to do with redonkeys? Well, he looks gift horses in the mouth. Okay, so quickly right here, Gap. Look, I mean, we're talking retail. I know Albertsons is going to be food, and you know WBA a little bit different, obviously, than Gap. But I mean, this is just a beat down name here. My wife yesterday was talking about she went on and bought something from Old Navy, and it was super quick for the kids. Some gear there, and it was super easy, and she's a big supporter of all the onlines that you can buy at Gap and Old Navy and Banana Republic. And you know, I know that Old Navy, I think, used to be the revenue driver here. I don't know what still is, but I think Gap's done a lot to sort of handle this. Again, I mean, I'm surprised the chart looks like this. Like, you know, their online experience is pretty good with malls reopening and things like that. I think that, you know, this is possibly a play as well as Gap comes all the way back in, you know, to $20. So I think that this is possibly a play here on the retail side as well, because, I mean, you're seeing a way higher end. I mean, it's not, you know, Macy's versus Gap. You know, I'm not, these aren't really too equatable. Yeah. But, you know, again, Macy's just looks completely opposite, almost inverted here of Gap, where you're near these highs and Gap is all the way down here. And then another one too is American Eagle Outfitters, another name that's been beat down a little bit that does have a chance to go as well as far as retail goes. So, I mean, look, this is just looks like the Gap again. And right here, you're making a little bit more of a bottom on AEO than you are on Gap. But again, like you know, I think that some of these names here, wait for the sector, and I'm gonna have to wait, and I'm gonna do a little more research, but there has to be a signal that gives us an all go here on retail for clothing, and I just wonder if it's coming up with Christmas coming and the holidays, people, you know, upping their game a little bit. Not that people are going to go shopping like crazy at American Eagle Outfitters, you know, to go back to work, but I think kids back to school, things like that. Gap and AEO on my radar, Brendan.
All right, a few people talking about this one as well quickly, guys. Zillow, you can look at Z or ZG as well. 8% here. I mean, I saw this story this morning and didn't really think much of it. I mean, this stock, if you remember, ran up into the beginning of this year to 200 and has done nothing but go straight down all year long. So they said this morning they're going to pause home purchases and focus on the inventory that they have and trying to offload some of that. So that seems to be the reason for this 8% move. But a few people asking about Zed, guys.
Yeah, man, Zillow's it's not a good looking chart, man. It's just, it's gotten beaten up. You want to say enough, and the bottom end of this range just looks hella interesting. You get down to like this 85, and then maybe even below it at $80, and then I think we're testing that. At least it feels like we're testing that today. Especially, I mean, the market was about 0.25% when we were sitting down here, Sean. It's like 0.5% now. So you take that weakness, you throw the range that the Zillow's had in here. I mean, it sounds good doing all the right things under pressure, which would be, you know, work on that inventory and sort of get yourself in a better position. But I'm just strictly looking at this like 84, you know, last week, so a couple of weeks ago, I should say, that bottom at $84.
It's already broke it,
bottom pick. And it's already looking like it wants to break down here. So it's about $3 away from that support level. So we'll see when we get there. I'm a little surprised there's not more volume in this one in the pre-market, given that story, given how beat up it's been. But you could be looking at SSR on this stock. It kind of feels, this is weird. I mean, I'm finding a lot of, I was looking at Affirm had a key level. If that broke, that could be pulling back in. Now you're getting Zillow in here on some negativity. Tesla's testing back at $850. Fuel Cell just broke $780, and I thought that could be an $8 even break to the upside. I don't know, it kind of feels like it's going to be one of those buy the dip type of days if you're looking for the long side of trades. It's a good thing we got something to the short side at least.
People are going to hate me, but I was calling when Affirm broke 150. I did call that a short and got a little bit roasted. Now it's at 145, so at least there's something there for you guys. But yeah, Zillow, look, I mean, I don't know where we were on valuations like 6 months ago and how everything could be so much different right now, but like $200 down to $87, just been absolutely killed. I see Alibaba with some news here about a new chip that they're releasing for server side, so a cloud server chip. I'm just going to see if that's doing anything here. We don't need to look at a 1 day for Alibaba for this one. Hopefully Baba comes through here on New York. Is it moving at all on this news? Sorry, the chart's loading up.
Looks like.
Yeah, not really, I guess. Means that moved down to 166, now 160. Yeah, so it's not doing anything, but there was some news there on Alibaba. But like Neil mentioned, man, right now the NASDAQ, Brendan, starting to hit some of these pre-market lows right here. So could be another sell day. And I do want to talk about Microsoft, but we'll get to that after we get to upgrades and downgrades.
Notable names on the board once again this morning, guys. We talked about a few already. There's Snapchat with the price target increase, Netflix, Goldman Sachs, DoorDash. Baidu is higher on a separate story, but yeah, Citigroup cutting the price target. Disney, we mentioned as well, Upstart and Space, guys.
So
No price target on Virgin Galactic there?
Virgin Galactic, yeah, price target 0. Well, we already targeted that $15. That might be coming sooner rather than later on that UBS warning, and Neil and I both short this name, so there you go. And again, we're going to get in trouble for this again. Shout out to Jacqueline and anybody here who's watching Upstart. But again, you know, a downgrade just gives you an opportunity to buy it. Like, I just hope that, I don't hope for everybody that's long. I hope for my own account that, you know, we can get something back near 300. But I mean, that's possible. It's very, very possible. I mean, you saw C3 AI. You've seen a lot of great companies that I think are pretty good anyways that have gone up and then come right back down after going parabolic. I mean, no matter what you think about this company, 135 up to 400 in a month and a half, that's, you know, that's a big straight up move there. We've had Jim Cramer. There's been a lot of talk on Upstart, and whether or not you like what they're doing, I think pretty much all of us do. Tech Play, you know, we've talked about them over and over again. The only thing is that you're going to get this move down today to 372 off of a I mean, we just cracked 400, but let's just say the top is 390. This could be a great opportunity to buy it up. Let's see if people do that today. I'm not sure they will, but there could be some profit taking come in. I'm looking for my 20-minute chart on this thing to find out where could maybe their buyers come through here. Big volume spike off the open 385 on Friday. And other than that, where's some volume coming in maybe around, I mean, in the midday here? I don't know, 360, 350. So that's what I'm looking at here for Upstart. I'd like to get this long, but I think it needs to be more near 300.
Yeah, I mean, last time it had a big pullback, it was 20% from the top, but that was a multi-day type of event, so you don't get that on day two here, ultimately. But eventually, you could find support down at 320 if it does the same kind of pullback. Now, today, I'm sort of with you. There's that 350 level. There's a nice cluster here up to 366, but I thought that's what we'd be testing after the 400 reversal on Friday. That was a good trade there, but I thought we'd be, you know, closer to 380 to 385 this morning, in which case you'd have 360 support. Now we're basically right in front of that, so I'd only look for that 350 level. If Upstart pops today, then it's the same thing as a firm when it was just that 150 to 153, where it was like 2-3 days in a row you're playing off of that level for the short side. Same thing would happen. If Upstart gets a move into the high side, the first things first is you play the lower high at 395, that 390 to 395 range, and then you're worried about that 400 top. It doesn't feel like that's coming into play in this market, however.
All right, let's get into what is moving around in the pre-market this morning, guys. There are quite a few to discuss. This week, the watch list brought to you by Love Pharma. Go to lovepharma.com. Check out LUV, listed on the CSE here in Toronto. Thanks so much for Love Pharma bringing you the watch list this week, guys. Still absolutely free for you. Tesla, yeah, pretty impressive couple of days to end last week. Here we are trading back towards that 850 level. Earnings Wednesday for Tesla. We said back on Friday, they actually changed their earnings day. Was supposed to be tonight aftermarket, going to be Wednesday aftermarket for Q3, back at 850.
I mean, it's just buy Tesla, buy more Tesla, and then buy as much Tesla as your account can hold is what I think.
Except when Valeria shorts it.
I just buy more at that point. Yeah, I mean, I just think that, you know, you got to, look, Valeria's been, we're just playing around. Look, I don't think Valeria's shares or anybody's shares are going to slow down Tesla right now. Look at this. I mean, look at this move here. And, you know, a lot of people have probably missed this move. They may get into earnings. They're going to blow the number out. I mean, I still think you take out, when it was down here, I bought more, 640, 650. We talked about that. That's been tweeted out. And you know, we're playing it off of this bottom, 550. I said we get to 900 by Christmas. That's going to happen by tomorrow. So, I mean, it's only October. I don't know where we go from here. All-time highs and beyond for Tesla. There's no stopping this thing. You know, they're going to, like you mentioned, Brian, they're going to come out. The switch to EV is on. Everybody knows that. There's only one real name in this space. That's going to be Tesla. Everyone's going to flock to this. They have much more going on than this. I mean, you see Elon Musk now. And look, Starlink, all this kind of stuff that he's dealing with, Bitcoins, Dogecoin, Shiba Inu, everything. I mean, he's just a big time, not just motivator, but I mean, he also is holding a lot of weight in this space, obviously. And I just think that if people are going to get behind somebody, it seems to be Elon Musk. It keeps on going higher. And you know what? Like, whatever. I mean, it's not like I'm talking about my position here. I've been long Tesla for a long time, and I'm not planning on getting out of it. So I still think that it takes this out. So I think $900 weekly calls is fine for here, and it goes higher and higher and higher. And I just think they're going to have a huge report, and I don't see any reason to do anything other than that. And by the way, Colin Powell, of course, people talking about it here, former Secretary of State. So rest in peace there, lost apparently the battle with COVID. So that's just sad to hear that. And people mentioning the Powell, and they were wondering if it was Jerome, but obviously it's not. So it's Colin Powell. So, sorry to hear about that.
Yeah, definitely sorry to hear about it. And look, with regards to Tesla, we put out a video this week. We were talking about the EV space. And one of the things we noted in it was just even the share in China, like the number 2 and 3, at least I think it's number 2 and 3. If not 2 and 3, it's 3 and 4, but I'm pretty sure it's 2 and 3. Number 2 and 3 vehicles, individual vehicles, EV vehicles sold in China are the Tesla models. In the top 15, you didn't even see NIO. And that's in China, right? So ultimately, and like you said, Sean, they're just more than that as well. So it's not to talk things up, but one thing that was mentioned in the midst of this breakout, and ever since like this lower high here, that 540, which gave you a couple of dips, it gave you a great swing on a 636 breakout. Now, ever since we got to this 800 and 800 break, and then looked at this 820, the lower high at 880 was going to be that next stop, right? So that's what I'm looking for this week. It'll be about an 880, price range. It's kind of like the first time it gets to 800 turnaround. Like that 880 is going to stand out for me. That's the place I would try to go short on Tesla. If this thing even tries to dip today, oh, good. So that wick is ugly. That's annoying. This thing tries to dip today. I'm looking back, and I got down here 838.50, which is going to seem somewhat random. If you look back to the afternoon on Friday, I like the consolidation at 840. It had one wick down and actually held 838.50. So if we do get a pullback, I want to be long in front of that level, probably 40 to 41, somewhere in that range. I'm not really looking to short an 850 breakdown. There's so many other stocks that have potential breakdowns off levels that aren't nearly as strong as Tesla that would make safer bets.
All right, let's bring in Arun here, get a check of the overall market and see what levels we need to be aware of on the futures this morning. Arun, an interesting start to the week. What are you looking at?
Interesting start, indeed. We've been going straight up pretty much for the last, I think, few days. And here we are taking a break, maybe some downside action. That kind of opens the door. Given the way we've gone up, I think the downside move could be there. It could open up because there's not a whole lot of levels. I actually have to scroll down here a little bit to find the level I'm working with. 43.90 is the only level I got to the downside, the closest one anyways. So we've got a decent amount of space, 50 points or so from here to the downside. And there's not a whole lot stopping us from going down there, given the way we've moved. When you move up in such an angle and don't develop any levels of resistance or resistance at the time now support, when the market decides to come back down, there's nothing to test, right? So it could open up to the downside, and that's what I'm hoping for, really. I would like to be on the short side. I do have some shorts on. They're sitting in the money, but for me, I think anything close to 44.50 is a good location to find some shorts. And 44.70 would have to be the stop. Of course, if we fully reset, this market catches the bottom, finds the bottom, takes out that 44.70 level, then you have another leg to the upside, right? So that trade is there, but you've got to fail that short first before you go for the long. Given how this market has moved, I think you do have to open the idea for potential shorts. Could this market go down and then bounce straight back up and take the top off? Absolutely. But if we can get enough sellers out of the way first before we come in with the buyers and push this market back up, it's healthy for the market, I would say, to get some selling done, because it allows the momentum, not necessarily the momentum, but at least the move to carry forward in a good pace. It just needs a little bit of a reset after the way it's been moving. So 44.70 up top, and I got 43.90 down below. If we can get down, I would say somewhere close to 44.20, you can start to find, I would imagine, some hesitation. Maybe if we can develop a level there or somewhat buy side action there, and then you can go for the long with 43.90 as a stop. And then, of course, if this market goes back above 44.50, you're looking for shorts again. with 44.70 as a stop. And of course, 44.70 goes, then you look for the extension and this market to continue towards 4,500, which would only be 30 points away from that 44.70 mark. So for now, it does look like it's going to be somewhat of a bounce. After coming down about 12 points, it looks like it is going to bounce a little bit back above 44.40. But again, 44.40 doesn't have a whole lot of weight. There's nothing there, right? It's got to be either 44.50 and above or somewhere close to 44.20 to find some bids. So for now, 43.90 down below and 44.70 up top.
Impressive, that chart showing you exactly what happened to end last week. So good context. Thanks, Arun. We'll check back in again tomorrow morning. Like the market went straight up for 2 days heading into the weekend. Apple, guys, market probably going to depend on what comes at 1 p.m. this afternoon. Unleashed happening at 1 p.m. this afternoon for Apple. Some new screen technology reportedly coming. AirPods 3 reportedly coming. We're not doing much, though, for Apple today.
No, but I mean, I've wrote down, it's the #1 list name on the sticky note right here today. I like it. I think that, I was thinking the market was going to, hang around here and then possibly start to, inch up a little bit higher here today. I don't know if that's going to be true, so we're going to have to watch out for Apple and sort of not really defend the long too much if the market starts to come crashing back down. But we thought back to 143.50 for some support. That was the bottom here on Friday. So, I mean, Apple's been super, super strong lately. Here's the one-day chart. I mean, not super strong, but we've bounced off this 138, 139 a couple times here. And apparently, this is big news for Mac today. Different card readers, a few different things you mentioned there for Mac. New screen resolution. I mean, it's going to be super expensive, but that doesn't seem to matter a lot to Apple users. The price, so we're not super worried about that. It's coming out with something new. I just think that we can defend down here, man. Like this 144 so far in the pre-market's held pretty good. Despite a move down here in the NASDAQ. And then you do have that Friday bottom of 143. So I just think that this accelerates Apple. Normally it does go down on days like this. So I'm not like super, super excited about it. I just think that bottom that was made, if I can find the 20-minute, here it is. Nope, that's not it. Nope, that's not it. And if I can find the 20-minute, which is right here, this is what I'm talking about. Just this 143.50 right in here. We'll see if it can hold that. If it doesn't, then you have a 143 bottom. So we don't have any bids out right now. Hopefully we can get a little bit lower to this, 144 and change, which is right where we're at. So let's go a little bit lower than this, 143.75, something like that, a dip off open, and then we'll see if it holds 143. But I like the long here today. We're going to see if it holds 143. If it doesn't, then we're going to be out. This is not something that we're going to be waiting for. And then we did buy this dip here at NIO, again off the watch list. So we're long right now, 17 cents in the money. I think I'll take a piece out right now as we're getting close to VWAP, but that's NIO right here. A nice little buy the dip action. We'll go over the imbalances in a bit.
Yeah, I mean, Apple's got a 145 resistance, and if we get any strength this week, I think, you can probably look at that one for a bit of a potential break. But the market's going to tell that story, and Sean's already gone levels there. Upstart, by the way, just already dropped $5
really
off the bottom. So it looks like, I don't know, I might have to adjust some of the targets there. Because like the 95 pop, we might be looking at 85 or something more shallow now that I look at it here. So, Apple, I don't know if we'll get a shot at 145 today. It doesn't feel like the market's going to be that strong here, Brendan.
Indeed. We'll continue here, guys. Space next. A few more analysts jumping on board on the downgrade side of things after the announcement back on Friday, suggesting they're going to put operations on pause while they sort out some issues. So multiple different downgrades today for Virgin Galactic, including that one we saw from UBS.
There just wasn't a price target on there, so it's not like they're saying it's going to zero. I don't know. There was joking in the chat about that. All jokes aside, let's just sort of fast forward or rewind back to when we were down below $20 the last time, right? And I'm just sort of looking at what the shelf was that got rolled over, and it was about down here. If you kind of look at this, with 1875 or so breakdown, and then it made a bottom end of the range where 1825 was that low. So you get into that target area today, which clearly we both think it's going to head into that price. It might have an 825 support level, which is about $1 down from the 1925 break that we had in the pre-market. That was just a simple low of the day break. So we got at least $1 worth of room to, I think, implied support. I think a lot of people are they put this one in the back shelf or whatever you want to call it for the long-term play, and are now saying, well, if I want to buy more, I can buy at much lower prices. That's what I think is going to happen, and if you think that's the case, then I don't see who's buying this dip. Certainly a lot of people were in those 20s to make it hold up a little bit here, but you start thinking about their time frame and the competition, I see this holding in the teens for a while. So that's the play that we're going to make today. Gets to 825, it makes a lot of sense to start to take some of this off. Probably on a 19 break, we'll take some out 75s, 50s, all that kind of thing, all the way down to 1825, where there might be a bit of a relief. And then, if we consolidate here this week, 825 goes, I think you're testing at least halfway into the bottom of that range. And that's the day that, whatever capitulation through 1825, it kind of feels like the moment where you might get your best chance to buy while everyone is panicking. So I don't think this is necessarily done to the downside. And I can't think of a catalyst that they have that's positive for the rest of this year at least. So ultimately being patient, if you like this one for the long term, makes sense to me, and I've been saying that for a while.
Yeah, we were short this name on Friday, and I just tweeted this out here when we shorted, that 2150. We really liked that level. We shorted early, then we shorted again, and then got out here, and now obviously we're down to here. So, just from Friday, that 2150 that we talked about, it's giving you already about 10% to the downside. So we just tweeted that out and just covered a little bit down on the downside there. And yes, we're trying to stay humble a little bit with some of these calls as well. But we're really happy with the way they are, performing to the downside. And I mean, Neil just covered some levels. The price target for me is not zero. Like we said, I just, we'll hold this as much as we can. There is a potential this thing gets back up. I mean, it was just a downgrade. They've already had a dramatic move to the downside there on Friday and the day before. So we'll wait, well, not even really the day before, but a nice little ramp up. And then we take out this daily level, which is what we were looking at on Friday, which was 22. We said short it up to 2150. Now you're getting these levels. And I mean, this is a gap play. So we're right at this level here, 2120. Yeah, I don't really have an out for this trade, so we'll work on that as the day goes. We'll just see how it reacts. I don't know if I want to average into it. Probably just hold that, and we did take a piece out right there, so we'll start to rain down a little bit of money as we just start to stack it up a little bit in the pre-market here. 31.55 is our out, so that's 15 cents right there, just paying for some fees here as the day gets started. Still 20 minutes to go, but there we go, in and out of NEO. We said we look at the imbalances quickly before I throw it back to you, Brendan. One is on here, so we can check out that. That's the biggest seller here. We'll find out why that's there. One Smart Limited Group. It's only a 24-cent stock, so nothing to worry about there. I'm in Nucor, but obviously X is a sell today, so we'll find out. We'll look at what's happening with Nucor. There's space, but these numbers are pretty pathetic today, guys. Honestly, 80,000, 100,000 for CCL. Procter & Gamble coming to report this week, and I don't see anything on here. I don't even see NEO or anything. Disney was 67,000. Super, super small, so nothing really to work with there. And I want to say thank you to our new member, Eric. Thank you so much, Eric, for becoming a member. It does mean a lot to support the show, and thank you to all our viewers out there as well.
All right, let's go to GitLab, guys. We are lower for the first time in 3 days. A pretty impressive couple of days to kick things off for GitLab. We went from low 90s up to 115, 116 at the top here on Friday, coming off a little bit, but trying to hold this 110 so far for GTLB.
Look, it's been a fantastic 3 days, I guess, for this company. We can probably only look at the 1 minute because that's the first day of action gave you some levels, but I think how they managed to hold on Friday, it would be going to give you some obvious opportunities here. And keep in mind how thinly traded the stock is. So the first time through on the dips were okay. Each time it would test a level, but you had to make sure you weren't going to the well multiple times like I did. That's what gets you into trouble. Now, 100 is going to stand out like a sore thumb. You're going to look right back to here, this cluster at 104 on a dip. Now that's going to make a lot of sense. Those are the only two things I'm looking at for today. You do have a top break of yesterday's high, Friday's high, 116.30. And trade up there in the pre-market, but everything is on ridiculously light volume, right? So, let this one open up, let it settle down, especially if the market tries to come back in and you get a bit of a sell. There could be a chance to defend both that 100 and that 104 level. Everyone's excited about both the client base that they have. Just keep in mind, it's pretty volatile. Simply because it is an IPO, recent IPO, and there isn't a lot of liquidity. It's been lower liquidity this morning, and I think maybe the same thing was true last week in the pre-market. And if you do get the market sort of selling off or pulling back in, that would only add to the lack of liquidity as bids start to pull at 9:30. So you got to be very careful buying dips, especially on a name like this, right at that open. But I am looking 100, 104, the two levels, just making sure I didn't miss one there. 106 looks okay, if only because you go back and that was sort of where everything fell apart right at the open on Friday, and they had a bit of a cluster there, but I kind of feel like 104 makes a little bit more sense there, but 106, I guess, is a mild level on GitLab as well.
Yeah. I was looking more mild than that. I think 107 could be the big banger there. So, you have to pay for shorts. Whoopsies.
Right.
For that, I just paid for you, Neil. So don't worry, that was by accident. Actually, no, I'll just cancel. Do you want them? It's 6 cents. It's
Yeah, I'll take
ridiculously short there. So I actually,
I was
so I
about
have
to-
access to
I
all
was
of
about
our
to go do
accounts.
it.
I know, and I selected your account as well. So there you go. So you do have it for 6 cents. I mean, that I don't even understand how it's that cheap for us. But hey, we'll do that. I'm going to put it in for myself as well. But this 107 area here, I think that's pretty solid of a level to break right there. So 107 and change right there on GitLab. I think that's a trade you need to make. Whether or not we test this 116, I think you can short it into here, 115 or so, and that's what I want to do. I want to put an offer here at 115. Then if we get taken out at like 117, to me that $2 is worth it. So we'll wait to see if 117 comes through, but I want to short GitLab in and around here. I know this is sort of dancing with the devil here, but at the same time, some of these plays have to start fading back in a little bit. There's been a lot of money made on this name, and I don't know what the tie-up period is. Even if this was a traditional IPO or whatnot, I don't know the structure here, but 117, that was been a recent high. We'll see if that can hold. I'm not sure it can, but I do like a short through 107, and then I'm going to take one up here around 115, 116, and just to see what does to happen at that 117. But remember, guys, like the spread right now is $1.50, so it's crazy. I'm not going to be taking anything now, but we will wait to see it settle down, and then watch out for slippage. What that means is that you could say, hey, I want to get out if it breaks 116 here, but guess what? The offer might be 118 at that point. So you're really hoping that you're able to scrape some kind of a dark pool. This is where I do suggest that if you do have the ability in your brokerage account and you're short a name like this or long a name like this, any name that doesn't have liquidity, then I would choose whatever option I can to get the fill. So you may not want to have your order just sitting there. You may want to pay for it to get routed out. And that's a suggestion that I have for everybody there. So I'm definitely going to be using routing keys when we're trying to hit this name. So watch out for GitLab today. I still think it's a short at some point, but we may get burned on going short on the long. So we'll wait to see. But at some point, this is a short, just like that Bros was. So we'll wait to see GitLab. Maybe it's today with the market down at 0.5%.
All right, let's go to Baidu, guys. Still in positive territory here, but this move being faded pretty quickly here. Still 3% for Baidu, but coming off. Bloomberg reporting that Chinese authorities weighing the idea of asking companies like Tencent, ByteDance, and rivals to open access to search engines, which would benefit, obviously, advertisers and companies like Baidu. So this was up here around 173 early on, but coming off, as I said.
Yeah, I mean, so much for holding the breakout that Baidu was trying to do here. 170 is the level on the daily chart that you would have been breaking through, or I guess had gapped through on Baidu, and then the market came in and decided to be weak this morning, and everyone's taking that profit that they got on the gap. There's no volume here in the pre-market. I look back to if it goes all the way to 165, I guess that's a bit of a dip buy. We're talking Alibaba that did not move on a positive headline as well this morning, and then we're talking a little bit about China in general, disappointing GDP numbers. Now this is good news ultimately for Baidu, right? Like if they're going to have other content searchable on their platform, that is only going to make them relatively stronger overall. But if the theme is weak today, weak tech, weak Chinese growth, it's hard to imagine how Baidu holds up in that regard, and maybe just sell right back down in this 166, 165 area. So I would have liked to see it catch a bid at 170 when looking at the daily chart, that resistance turning into support. That didn't happen, so we'll have to walk away and only think about buying the dip if we catch it at 165. And even then, I think there's going to be, if we get that kind of a move downside in the market, there's probably some more enticing names that I think we can pick up on weakness, and one of them, of course, will be Tesla if the market comes in.
Shout out to Hydration Nation, let's go. Yeah, you just mentioned Tesla there. I wanted to go right over to NIO, which was the only Chinese name that I'm really going to be interested in trading, just because of the way it's been moving. We like some of the movement that's had. It was straight upside on Monday, on Friday, straight to the upside off the open. We'll see what happens today. That's why we took out 1/3 right there. We're still trying to hold 37 even on NIO. So, if we're talking China, that's the play for me. I do think the safer play, we've already talked about it, was in that FXI. But right here, Alibaba, Alibaba, that's the name that I'm in. But NIO right here, we talked about it, not holding it too far past 37 even. So we have one more level to go at 37.25 that we can look on here on the 20-minute chart. So it's just this bottom right here, that's 37.40. So that's where we're long. You come into here, you have a 37 situation, so we'll buy ahead, we'll buy the quarters, and we'll see what happens down here at 37. This is not going to be a heavy position off the open, that's for sure. And then if you break down below here, which was Friday's bottom, then we don't want any part of this thing, so we'll be out of this. I mean, this is not going to be one of those hero holds where it comes all the way back down and then we're just like slowly getting it out and thanking, you know, our lucky stars to get out. No, we're not going to do that today. You know, if this breaks through 37, we'll give it down to these bottoms here. What is that very bottom? 36.75. So maybe we'll start building a little bit early or a little bit later, like 37 teens down into here. We'll start to bid, giving ourselves a little bit of room back down to the bottom side. So I think this is worth about a 70-cent hit because that's about how much we have to the upside, taking out 38. So we'll wait to see what happens here with NEO, but we are a buyer a little bit lower. And then a quick check back in because I know a lot of you like this. Still nothing happening here. Still US Steel. Oh, it did break 21. Okay, so there was a big level there at 21 that was on the bid. So that's gone now. 2 million shares. I'm not sure, did they report or something? Because I'm not sure why it's so exciting here for steel today. We are in Nucor. We talked about that. We're long this one, 95.50, and that's down 1.76%. So maybe it's just on some of this, you know, renewed talk here for the infrastructure bill, things like that, steel prices.
It was a negative analyst report on them.
Okay, so on X?
That's all I saw.
Okay.
Specifically on U.S. Steel, that's all I see. But
yeah, so we'll have to follow U.S. Steel prices here and find out what's going on. But space right now continues to make moves. Now at its, not really, I guess it's close to its low. Did we take out 19 yet? No, the low of the day right now is right here. So space, we're already short this name. You can see Neil and I both have this short on. We're short right here at VWAP, which is 1925. Current VWAP, we'll see if it takes down this bottom. I have some bids like 1880, and so we'll just try to scale this one out. But again, I think there's a possible reversal on this at some point.
All right, let's continue along here, guys. That LMFA just popping up there, LM Funding America. There's an offering, 6.3 million shares at 475 per, so a little volume spike there for LMFA. I'll bring this over and we'll talk about Netflix, guys, coming with earnings this week. Bloomberg reporting, quoting an internal document that they now think this Squid Game show is going to be worth $900 million for Netflix when it costs them a mere $20 million to make.
Cheap. Look, Netflix, it's kind of putting in a bit of a reversal of its own off of a 650 high. Miss V just finally watched the Squid Game, so she liked it. I mean, a little bit. Certainly, it's a little bit gory, but Netflix, it finally put in a bit of a breakout, at least on the daily chart, because it hadn't been doing a heck of a lot. And everyone's been talking about how strong it's been since it. And look at this clean break at 530 after a consolidation. Then you took out that 600 high. Now you have this 650 level. And if the market's going to be selling off today, just have a little look at the 620 and a little bit of double top breakout support from last week. You break that 620, I think people are going to get their shot to get into that Netflix. I guess break, because we take that level out, you're going to have an opportunity to maybe buy in front of 6 or like 580 if this market tries to come back in a little bit. It's relatively strong today, so I don't know. It kind of feels like it's not really following the market as much, but if we pull back far enough, I think you're going to see Netflix get involved. And I hate to jump away from this because I know, Sean, you probably want to talk about some names as well, but I want to get to this ADMP. Thank you, Nick W., for the super chat. ADMP was on the radar. Obviously, I was looking at this $1.50 level and then back into this 175, and those are the two things of concern. Go this way, Neil. We chopped right into the middle of those two before pulling back. It fell so far that I kind of stayed away from it, right? Like the consolidation was too low. It wasn't at that 150 level where I would probably be sitting in a short. Now it just turns into a 930 pop and drop kind of play. Like if it takes out this 150, I'd look to see if it can't get to 65. I think 75 is also a level, so I would probably try it there. It actually sets up right now for a bit of a break, 44. The only problem with that, like I said, 150 is a somewhat significant level, so that's more of a scalp trade than anything else. If it were to break that, then you'd have some more room to the upside on ADMP. And then when it comes to JSPR there, Nick, just $18 to $19 is hard resistance on that stock. It gets there. I think it's a short until it's not. Every time you've done it up there, it's basically been a good trade. I don't see a lot of a catalyst for it here today, so I'm not really that heavy on JSPR unless it makes a pop.
Yeah, Jasper Therapeutics. So that was funny on Friday, that stock, that's for sure. Okay, so right here on the sticky note, the only major, we have Apple on there as well. Good morning, traders, by the way, Monday morning. Welcome and thank you for spending it with us here at Trader TV Live. Maybe we can throw to Ms. V to spice this thing up a little bit, see what she's going to be trading today. But here's Microsoft right here, 304.50 was a nice high. We've come back in because of the NASDAQ here, but 305.80 is also ATH as well. So, there is some good to go levels here, I believe, on Microsoft. And now that we've come back in, check out this right here, 303.25 or so on a break there. So you can get that long. This is why we looked at 304.50. It was just a high on Friday when the market was up here when we were talking about it. We thought that had a chance to break, but now you're sort of dipping back in. We're already long NIO here with a chance to get longer. So I like this Microsoft break. Unfortunately, there's still 5 minutes left. So with the spread right now, 30 cents or 25 cents, I don't want to put this order in yet, but I think that once the market opens and liquidity comes in here and we can play off that first or second little spike in the market, if Microsoft wants to go today, then I'm going to regret not taking this 203.25 level. So it may fall back in here because of that monster move up. They talked about their deal with the Army and some of those goggles that they're going to be working with. And Microsoft, I just looked. It's still the number 2 stock in my portfolio, even though I did sell some at 296 and did not get back in, which is a mistake for me. But we were able to buy PayPal. We talked about that Nike, Nucor. Oh, and T-Doc we bought, and we bought one more too. But anyways, okay, Palantir, 300 here to the downside. Watching out for that level too. So Microsoft's going to be in play today for me. Big rallies in the last couple days. You've seen it off this bottom. I still can't believe I almost threw up when I saw it get to 280 and I missed that for a reload. That was exactly the levels I wanted there on Microsoft. It's so stupid. Didn't have a bid out there. So hopefully we get that again. Well, not hopefully. I hope we don't get it again as a holding. But 306 is looking major spicy there on any break, man. Microsoft's going to 350 and no one can do anything about it.
All right, guys, few little ones. Bottom end of the list this morning. We'll talk about this Oyster, OYST, up. It's not a huge move, only 10%. 15.5 up to about 15.75. It's been up here a few times. These highs, sorry, not these highs. That's 16.5 up to 17. So wide range. Once again, pretty thinly traded so far on this one. Currently 15.20 and then 15.5. I'm just watching those two, and then the top is 16.40, but already fading off for OYST, guys.
I got to pay for shorts. That is a 1580 level. That's pretty interesting as well. So about 5 minutes into the open, there was just a question, asking about Moderna. I wanted to get to, I'll get to Affirm in a quick second, but I can get Moderna out of the way here because you're in the middle of this range, and I don't love it the same way I've been looking at Upstart and Affirm, and of course we like Virgin Galactic. You're sitting right in the middle on Moderna here. This 317 level is about the only thing that matters. That's 16 to 18. That was that previous, I guess, great shorting area that we were looking at before. That's going to be your support. Above this price, I don't necessarily want to be a buyer here. I kind of want to see you may be looking at a breakdown. But if you like it for support, and I've been favoring the short on Moderna for a while now, and it does set up to maybe give you some support off that same 317 area. I just find that I've done way better only playing it in one direction. So watch your 316 to 318. That's your support on Moderna. Just briefly to get quickly, only 3 minutes to go, guys. So Affirm here. I don't know why it's not showing the trades from late last week. It's showing these ones here. But 153, we were shorting that multiple days. 150, the lower high could come into play today. But have a quick look at this 144.25 resistance break. And then last week found some support at that price. If the firm gets through this level, you're probably headed at least back down to that 36 to 38. Let alone that big support down at 132. And that's with a weak market. So it's trying to spike up right now. I'm not sure the first. That was crazy. You guys just saw that. The trades just popped in there. 140, yeah, so 144.25 would be that support. If it does go higher, in addition to shorting off the 53, we were shorting in front of 150. Although that was a move that was much better if you didn't get it right at the open. Now that we're $3 away from it, I wouldn't mind shorting a pop into that 150 level as opposed to catching it like right at the beginning of a move, which can be dangerous. So I like Affirm to the south side again today. It's just really struggling to sustain moves to the upside here, and every single pop has been very shortable.
So FCell, we'll finally get to this one. This is, again, on our list, social media pump today, apparently. So we'll watch out for FCell up 4%. I like an $8 break. I mean, when you guys get behind this name, they tend to make moves. So we'll see if we can make some money moves on FCell today. I do have some bids down here in the 40s and 50s, so we'll see if those fill. If they do, then we're going to be in a little bit of trouble. But again, back into here, 650 maybe as an area of concern for me. So if we can crack below 650, then we'll get out of this one. That's why we're going to start the bidding, in the mid 7s and then work our way down on fuel cell. Because again, with the pump happening, maybe it does take out this $8. We do have an order ready to go there, but I think that there could be some buying in here 750. So we'll buy here. We'll buy again around 740, and then hopefully it doesn't come to the downside. But if it does, we'll try to test near 7 and then look at 650. So again, not going to be one that we're going to go broke on today. But FCell does have that potential just because it's being talked about, just like DATS was and things like that. So we'll wait to go with only 30 seconds left to go. NEO, yeah, go up, NEO. Let's go, man. We're 20 cents in the money on NEO already off of that buy. So that was a good one as well. But FCell, there's NEO. FCell is a nice concern. We're long 37.40. We'll see where it goes. NEO, only 20 seconds.
Yeah, Miss V is on the bell. I think we're going to need that green shirt today, Miss V, because down 0.4%, NASDAQ 0.3%. Looking like we're opening in the red for sure. We'll see what happens rest of the day. It is Monday. There is the countdown. 8, 7, 6, 5. Space might break 19 right at the open. Watch out here.
Yeah.
3, 2, and 1. Ring it.
All right,
So
thank you.
Oh,
Thank
we
you,
just
Ms.
bounced
V.
off 19.
Thank you, Ms. V. Okay, so right now, yeah, we're going to watch out for Space there. Like Neil said, we mentioned that we may not be in this name for too long here today, as Space does have some issues all the time trying to move up and down off the open. So we're going to watch out for that one. Starting to move right now. Let's check out Microsoft, see where we're going. I only have 2 positions. Nothing's triggered yet. Ooh, that 303 just popped through. So 303.25 there. Let's see if we can get long and see if we can hold that. But right now, Microsoft just bouncing around. We don't mind it, guys.
Immediately, we forgot about the name here that's making a bit of a move. PROG, just for those of you looking, it is now up 10%, making a bit of a move to the upside, so I'll quickly cover this. It has resistance from last week right here at 235 where it sits, and then a big 250 lower high. I'm waiting for that second level. 250 on Prague looks pretty interesting to me. And then the firm just got a bit of a bid. Forget about the 15. Come over to the 1 minute. I'm still looking at that 150 level. I'll short that one in front of it, but it's trying to get to the upside here. So I want to see if I can be patient with a firm and let it pop. Tesla, forget about the dip buy. Tesla just broke back to the upside and going straight up here, 855 now.
Tesla's hot fire. Yeah, watch out for some Tesla there moving around as well. So good call. Now when Neil, we'll watch out for Tesla. Microsoft bouncing around these levels as well. There goes NIO, man, 3770. This is the name that we want. We're actually waiting at 90 there at this high. So we'll see if we can get a little bit of a bump up here and take this 30 cents here on Tesla. On NIO. I said Tesla to the moon. We'll see where that one goes. Palantir's back to 24 right now. And then we got to look at some Apple because that was a name that we liked. Looking at the list here, 143.50. That's right where we're at right now. Let's buy some Apple.
Yeah, and this is what I mean, Tesla. It just got to 859 and then pulled deep back in here. Let's see if it can hold that 850 level on the way back in. I just got a firm for the first time, 149.5 in front of that 150. And then that fuel cell, looking like it's trying to take out that $8 level a couple of times here. There's only a couple 100,000 shares on the offer, which is not a lot. So I think it's going to be able to chew through that. There it goes. We'll get to this break, and then we'll go to Brennan, 810 already, so we'll get some out here on that fuel cell trade. Now, if it doesn't get to about 825 in the few seconds here, if it can't hold that 80 even, you're probably looking dip to 780. That's a pretty big level, so watch out on any kind of a pullback. 780 looks pretty big on fuel cell. Brendo?
There was a couple of analyst moves on Snapchat this morning, guys, as well. Up 2% here so far on decent volume, testing some big levels for Snap.
Yeah, Snapchat does have earnings as well this week, so we're expecting some big things from Snapchat. Okay, come on, Neo. If it's not going to go, it's not going to go. We are into Apple now as well, right here. So we did talk about some of those levels that we liked for Apple. We'll see if it's back to 143.50. That's where it came back down into. So we'll have to watch out for Apple again. This is just an initial position. We'll have to let it work out, and then we will address that in a couple minutes.
There goes fuel cell.
There goes which one?
FSEL.
FSEL, okay. Yeah, FSEL, we're long at 8. Yeah, so that one just pops in as well. So we'll have to check out what FSEL's doing, but we are long that name heading to the upside right now. So there's that 8 bid. Fortunately, we didn't get any 770s. I was bidding like 755. It only goes down to 766. But here goes FSEL. We'll take out a little bit here for a nice 15-cent win so far.
Yeah, I tried reloading on Virgin Galactic. I'm going to cancel that reload at the 25. So look at what's happening at 19 even. This is now twice it's tested this 19 area. Now it's in the money. We're short 24s here on the 25 break, that low of the day. But at some point, it's got to take out this 19. And that could be a breakdown trade on its own. Remember, it's short sell restricted because of Friday, right? Like was down over 10% that day. So you're not going to be able to hit that bid. You have to wait for an uptick. Affirm, if I wanted $1, I guess I could have already taken it on Affirm here, as it already pulled back, and it's kind of hard to see on the 1 minute. It already pulled back once to 148 and then just came right back in. Now you have a couple of tests here at 150. Like I said, I got 49.5. If it breaks 148, I'll look to take some out in front of that 147 area, probably 147.5. I want to make sure we get some profit on this name before it makes too big of a move back to the upside, because there are some signs that the market is slowing this, I guess, initial fall at the open here. Not too crazy though. Fuel cell, I've scalped some out of this one. And that ADMP, just to get back to it, if it'll actually flip for me, not really doing a heck of a lot. I thought there'd be a bit of a break here. I'm looking to fade this one off the high of the day. It's starting to pick up in volume. If it gets up to about 160 to 165, I'd short it off the high of the day. Just a few more shekels, and we'll take some out here on that Affirm as it's trying to break 148 to the downside.
Nice, yeah. And then there goes Neo, man, reining in the cash one more time. Just took a piece out right there at this pre-market high level of 37.85. So, I mean, this is another big win for us here. 50 cents in the money on that name. So good call on that. Hopefully goes to the upside. We did take a piece out of FSEL. I don't know why it stopped there, but if we can just sort of expand out here, see on a 20-minute chart, there's obviously nothing there, and on a daily, yeah, I mean, 870, like I sort of thought an 850 maybe where we'll stop, but we'll have to wait to see where FSEL is going right now. I like this play, but down to 850 is a little bit better, or up to 850. We'll get another piece out here if it goes. But right now, FSEL right now will spin the cash as it's at 820 and still starting to go right now. We do have this long, of course, on FSEL, and there's the breakthrough, $8. And man, sticky note reigns supreme again today, Brenda. What's up?
A big mover so far. Another one, guys, HUT8, HUT, cryptocurrency or Bitcoin specifically. Related here, coming back towards these highs from Friday. This one has gained a lot of attention over the past couple of weeks. We're to 52-week highs here again for HUT.
Yeah, two things up. Virgin Galactic trying to get back to the upside. It just took out 19 quarter up to that 1950 area. When it consolidates, I'll try a reload. That JSPR, someone just said halted. No, I don't see it halted at all. It made a move to 16. It couldn't break the pre-market high. Now it's showing some signs of weakness. So I don't know. People keep saying in the chat, this is halted, that's halted, and I'm not seeing a lot of those moves. So not sure what's going on some of your platforms. That fuel cell, we need to talk about some targets to the upside here at least. When this wants to load up for me. And one of the things you should always do is just, when in doubt, zoom out. 830, you go back in the daily chart, there is a bit of a level at this 830, and I have not really taken a third leg out just yet, and you're going to be right here. 828 is the next high. So I do want to get some out in front of that 830 and let the rest of it, I guess, ride. But when you add a level like that on the daily, it's kind of worth looking at. One name that we have not mentioned, just has not given the chance to get in, is going to be Upstart. It's been only a flush. I said, I might have to get more aggressive if I wanted to shorten it today. So far, that seems to have been true, although I did not get this one to the south side. It looks like a 375, 377. These pre-market highs might be it. If it breaks any of those, 385 looks like a good resistance level for Upstart. But on the daily chart, watch out for this 830 area on fuel cell. It's resistance there. It probably has to break through. I'm going to take some more profit in front of it. Ooh, thank you.
Thank you, Ms. V, for that one. Look, this is the Bang coffee cup right. Well, you can't see, there it is. I can't turn it that way, but then we have the Chair TV on the other side. So we'll actually take a sip after this. We'll start talking a little bit here. You did mention there, Neil, about fuel cell. So yeah, we're doing the same thing kind of where we start taking some out right now on FCell. So here we go. We will take the remainder of this out on fuel cell. Whoopsies, and see where we go from here on FCell. So nice little move to the upside. We take out another pit. Then we have a quarter left. So fuel cell, we're waiting for that one to rock and roll, and hopefully, it will come in for us more to the upside. I'm looking at that 870 level like we talked about here on the daily chart. If I can get that, then that'll be fantastic here for FCell, which is a nice runner for us early here. And then check out Neo, man. Yeah, that, Neil, was a good idea for us today on NIO as that continues to make some move to the upside. So we definitely like that one. And it's starting to rock here. So 38 oats. I mean, this is what we talked about with Neil, man. Right off the sticky note. I mean, we talked about defending it. Hopefully you're joining us every single day at Trader TV Sean. You can see the sticky note. We talked about it right here. Defend NIO with Tesla going. We like a long all the way back to 37.25. Where's our long? 37.40. There we go. $1. We're going to try to catch $1 on this name to the upside. But what's up, Brendo?
Had an alert there at pre-market highs, guys, for Space. Yeah, I guess it was that level there, 19.5-ish for Space. Huge volume came in there as that broke.
Yeah, and when it tried to take that 1950, you're going to see break 1950 pre-market high. There was really no other levels to look at. I mean, you get up to $20 in 2050, and those are going to be levels. But it turned here at 58. I like way down instead of way up. You guys kind of know that usually a better entry point for me there. So when it goes back below 50, going to make a little bit of a reload. I'd take some out quarters and 19s because 19 has just been an absolute wall so far. As we mentioned, both in the pre-market, but also after it opened up there. Looks like 19 is going to maintain that wall. That does set it up for a breakdown at some point. This upstart, I think it's completely gotten away from us at this point. It's now 360. And it looks like there's almost no signs of stopping here on upstart. It's trying to bounce here, and I would want to be fading this one. You know, I want this short, obviously. It didn't quite go up enough for me to be able to fade it. It looks like you're looking at the low 70s as a possible turn there. Tesla's not doing a ton right now. It's still relatively strong. You're seeing it pull back. No pullbacks into that 850 range, which we would have liked, obviously. Holding the higher end of the range at 855. 880 does remain that resistance level that could come into play, but it feels like a let the market shake out a little bit type of morning here. And GTLB, GitLab, one that we sort of ignored, down to the 107, so it looks like it's trying to consolidate off of at least in front of a couple of these levels. 106 in play, 104 also going to be in play for possible support there. Just took some of the reload out on Virgin Galactic, so patience being a bit of a virtue today, and I think that's one of the things we got to do. If it's going to play this game, we saw it do this on Friday, where initially you had a pre-market position, you had to take profit, you then had to be very, very patient reloading, and then eventually it came down. So I think we're getting a little bit of the same here on Virgin Galactic that we saw on Friday.
Okay, so NIO, guys, still going upside. So hit the cowbell one more time here because there we go, man. Again, we talked about this trade. We should have had it breaking through 38, but we didn't because we already had this trade on. So NIO right now, $1 in the money on a $38 stock. So that's pretty good. Oh my God, you just sold all of your Palantir shares. Bad mistake. Buy back in, depending on your time frame. Of course, I don't want to say, buy Palantir if you're already fully loaded up, but nice little 1% move upside for PLTR. And Palantir has been a great move in the last couple days off of 23 bottom. So there's always that stuff to look at here on Palantir. Is a 20-minute, a nice bid off the bottom. I mean, I don't have to write this on the sticky note, guys. 23.80. I mean, that was a great level, even back down to 23. So there's lots of potential here for Palantir, but there's lots of potential for Brendan. What's up, bud?
Another one getting lots of mentions. It would appear on social media today. TRMD up 8%. Or 18%, I should say, on huge volume, guys. This is not a big company at all. Torm PLC, not seeing news though.
Yeah, not really seeing anything there either. So you're getting close to 20 on, I mean, I'm only going to talk about US Steel because of the $20 level, which has been very significant. It was a great, like $10, $20 on the daily chart were fantastic on the way up. And you're going to see the support here, at least recently, above this $20 area. And it's been last week, you had 20, it's about 2050-ish. You had back in July, same thing. So that level goes, and that's a significant one here, but $20 looms right behind it, guys. So watch out. I'm not shorting that breakdown. Shorting a break like this, too close to an even dollar range, doesn't look fantastic, but if you're sporting a long position, you might want to watch out for that one. Starting to get close to that time where I've let a firm settle down a little bit, so it's making its test. We took that first dip. I could have taken some out at 148. I was looking for a little bit more than that. And now you're going to try to go back to that 153 top. So this is where we sort of waited around for it to make it slow down in that turn. I'm going to do exactly the same thing here. I took some out of Virgin Galactic. We ranked some of that register when it popped down into VWAP. Now it's going to try to come back into that 1950 where I'd rinse and repeat. So shorting off of these highs, the 1958 being the actual high since the open, but somewhere around that high 40s, low 50s area for a reload on Virgin Galactic looks like it is coming. I want to stay to the short side of that trade. It'd have to hold a bit above $20 for a day or two for me not to be bearish on it.
Okay, so 21-cent win there, taking on Apple. So again, we'll just punch it. I mean, if you're joining us for the first time, welcome. I was going to scalp pretty much everything except for when we get prices that we like an NIO, which is now more than $1 in the money and continues to make moves to the high side here. NIO, if we're going to look to get out, I mean, maybe 40 is coming, but we're going to hold this, man. If the market turns green today, wow, how big of a winner will this one be eventually? I like NIO here. We'll see if we can hold that for just a little bit longer as we look here. Someone mentioned that weed stocks need a catalyst. Yeah, we talked about that over and over again, so I hope that catalyst can come sooner rather than later. DraftKings down to 48 and change. That could be a play. And again, we've talked about DraftKings here over and over here as we're just rocking and rolling right now. Apple's still near that 144. DraftKings, look, I like the name. We've talked about it. It's making a nice little base here to form out on. But again, we're touching the bottom of this base, not the top. So I don't know, man. I sold this at $62 up here. That was another name that we sold. I'm looking to get back in, and I don't want to make the mistake to miss this. That's why I'm looking more at a 51 break than averaging into here. I believe if this breaks, then we do have a chance to come back into 42, 43. But I like the name. It's definitely a disruptor. It's the first. I mean, it's not really disrupting anything other than the fact that it's changing, the legalization of gambling across the United States as well as here in Canada. And DraftKings does have, if not first mover advantage, it's pretty close. So we'll wait to see what DraftKings are also getting into the NFT game. So I think there's a lot of potential here with DraftKings. It's just not doing anything right now, and it's near the bottom, so I'm going to stay away from that one as NIO. Just stay with names that are rocking, man. NIO's been working. Stay with that if you want value, plus a little bit, growth plus a little bit of value the other way around. Stay away from DraftKings as there goes Apple. Oh, I didn't realize I had an offer out there on Apple. So we just got out. We got taken out on Apple there on another offer that I had at 144. We're flat on Apple, guys. What's up, Brendan?
Waiter Holdings, very active here so far. Again, looks like they've expanded their partnership with this Olo, more on-demand delivery services. So WTRH, there it is, 15%. Just took out that high from Friday.
Yeah, remember Waiter, that was a big mover there in last week's action. Upstart is continuing to just look all kinds of weak. And again, you can be patient with this. If you got the short, this is one of those situations where you just hold on. You might be holding on for dear life for it to get back to that 350 level, that first dip, a potential dip buy that we talked about in Upstart earlier on in the pre-market show. That's why you should tune in. If it does pop back into the upside, I got to at least be thinking about in front of that 70 level for the fade. I got my reload on Affirm after waiting, just waiting for that first 10 or 15 minutes of the market to sort of teeter off a little bit and calm itself down. We had to sort of sit through that same thing on Friday. It did get all the way up to 153, but it looks like it's slowing down a little bit shallow of those levels. So, I could probably have two legs that I could add to this one if we're going to play it like we did on Friday. I'm not sure they're even going to come into play. We just had Virgin Galactic looking like it was going to roll back over again. Now, keep in mind how big the gap is to the downside on Virgin Galactic. So you're shorting near some interesting lows. But if it slows at 1950, that's going to be a reload for me. Obviously, we took it here one time at that price, and we'll try to take it again off that previous high of the day. And then back to Tesla, which Tesla might be the one that just got away. There was never any chance. There wasn't. A lot of stocks even dipped. Tesla. It came to 850 one time, right here at 930 or at least 929, and it's been all go zone for this stock. So if it pulls back, maybe it holds a 55 to 58 somewhere around VWAP, and that's the way to get into this today. But good luck if you're short it. If we see 880 today, then I would take a shot. But I just don't want any other price except for in front of 880 on Tesla. So I'm not going to be short in this one. And GitLab. We talked about letting this one slow down a little bit, right? So it's not about trying to avoid it. It bounced off 107. It's now at 109, but it's still looking like it's pulling back, right? So 5% to the downside. These are the levels that I'm looking at. It's going to be at 104. There's a loose level at that 106 because it was a flush at 9:30 on Friday. But 104, 106 look pretty interesting to me. I just missed the reload on space, but that just means it's going in the money once again.
Yeah, exactly. So NIO here, we will take a little bit of profit on this name if it drops below these levels here. So 38.25, 38.26 or so. We're going to look to take out some profit because it's been rocking for us. So no point in ignoring it. Apple right here, nice little move to the upside again, 143. Unfortunately, we got out of that one, but we'll still punch that one out off of a nice long. Again, our number one name on the watch list as well. Miss V's got something for you.
Hey, Sean, therapeutic stock AVTE is up around 30% and have been halted for 3 times today. Could you please take a look at AVTE?
I should shout out to Brendan. I don't think we've had this one yet today, so I'll give Brendan AVTE because, yeah, bang, bang, bang. Just short and, yeah, not a good one here for those of you that have been short this name, as I should say, not long. Short this name as it just continues to make moves to the upside. So not too sure about AVTE, but we'll have a look here. $25 breaking out the daily range here up to, I don't know, 23 and change. So we just halted at 18. So watch out for 23, 25 is all I can say about that one until we find out just a little bit more about AVTE.
Yeah, I mean, you never want to trade it blind. 300,000 in volume is absolutely nothing, and the low volume, low liquidity is a reason why you're going to get multiple halts. So unless it's at that 23 level on the reopen, I don't know if I'd be stepping in front of that one. I think that's kind of dangerous. As I mentioned with Virgin Galactic, if it doesn't give you a chance to get more shares, well, then that probably means that it's starting to work out, or at least continuing to work out. I just got a fill here at the teens. I have another one in front of 19. Now remember, it was a big level right at the open, right before the open, and then right at the open, 19 held multiple times. It sets up for a 19 even break on Virgin Galactic. At this particular point, I'm going to be still short in those pops, but I still think we can take a 19 even break to add to our position. But if it bounces off, I want to take profit in front, and that way we're adding on any pop up, and then we're adding back into it on a breakdown of 19. So lots of ways that we can get more shares. Virgin Galactic, Futu. Yeah, it continues to get absolutely crushed after last week's load. After last week's pop to the downside, I guess. But getting a bit of a bid here. I'm sitting this out. Like, I only wanted this thing. I mean, I wanted this thing in the 70s. We can forget about that trade. It was kind of okay. But if it comes all the way back in, all Friday afternoon, 64 even to 64 quarter was a monster level on Futu. If it even sniffs that, it's just going to be a short up at that price. But Futu trying to fill in some of the gap that got put in last week. It's still down a good $25 from a week ago. So you can tell even this rally up $4 isn't a heck of a lot in context.
Okay, so we finally do have GitLab short here. We're 80 cents, $1 in the money. But again, look at the spread. It doesn't really matter how much you're in the money. It matters where you get filled. So we're going to wait to see if we can have this one. There's that 107 breakdown that we talked about earlier on. So, whoops, the daily chart's not going to show much here. But if I can go up to 20-minute, there's that break right here. We don't have our fills on here, but there's the breakdown here. And I think if we can get to like 104. That's going to be decent. So we'll see if we can get $2 to $3 on this GitLab 106.50. We are short. We wanted the 107 break, but there's what I'm talking about when you get the spread coming through, right? So we have $1 win now on this name, but we'll wait to see if GitLab can come back in to 104 and change. It could even fall even much more than that, but I just wonder if there is some bids here at 104.50 or so. So right now, GitLab, a nice move for me down to the downside right here. In the money now, about $1. I mean, depending on where it fills, but we're only short out. There's 105.50 there, so there's 105.50 printing. So right now, $1 in the money on GTLB, which is of course GitLab here, and we'll wait to see. I still think it can blow it out to the upside. So 110 break or so gives me about the same kind of ratio there. So we'll wait to see on 110. But right now we're $1 in the money on this one, and we like it. So here goes GitLab, hopefully filling us out, and I'm bidding 104 change. So if we get a little bit move to the downside here, we can maybe get that bid. But right now it's kind of resisting the move down. Look at the NASDAQ starting to go, and I'm really pissed off, to be honest with you. I mean, it's only 10, 20 cents difference, but we should still be holding this Apple, guys.
Yeah, and you can forget about a dip buy on a fuel cell, at least for now, at $8. It looks like it just broke back in. It took out that 830 level on the daily, so we are headed higher. There is 850 that psychologically looms, and then from there, look, there's not a heck of a lot till you get closer to $10. So fuel cell continues to run. We'll hang on to it as it goes. Tesla, which was setting up, it was setting up for a bit of a dip down into VWAP. Now it's setting up for a break of the high of the day at 863, so that one continues to churn to that upside. I do have to get over to that not to GitLab, but over to DATS. DATS showing signs of that other, relative weakness, I suppose, because down 4%. Now remember, $10 is going to be a pretty big level here, and then $9.30. But DTS just tried to go to the upside. Look at this level. Previous support at $10.80 tries to get up into that range, also where it closed on Friday, and starting to fade. Looks like DATS can't get its legs under it. That could be in for a bit of a flush. But just keep in mind, $10 and then this $9.30 level. Both going to be big ones here, but DATS looks like they could challenge those. Brendo?
GreenPro Capital, one we've looked at before. GRNQ, big move late in the day Friday. Got above $1, just broke $1 again, and is trying to hold right now. Not seeing anything on it, but GRNQ, guys.
GRNQ. Okay, we'll look at that. I don't know too much about that one. Okay, so GitLab still rocking and rolling. We talked about that. Neo, we have an out coming out soon. If it does want to drop down, I may even change my out to be a little bit more aggressive than where we are right now. This little break here through 25 probably gets us out. So right there, that's that 25 break. So we can watch out for that on NIO there. It was a bit a big move up. We did call that earlier. We did like some of the bottoms picking through there, but right now this 38. Let's get out if it breaks through 38.19 or so here. We'll just put the offer in and get out of that one. And again, you have to just cancel my other trigger there. You do have to get out, of these plays at some point. Obviously, we wish we got it out at the very top, but if we could take it out here off of this, so one out, one third, right there on NIO. Should have punched it through at 38 and gone way bigger shares there, but oh well. Can't have them all, I guess, and we don't have many of them today. Fisker's running around, Neo, Roku with a nice move to the top. Look at AMD, guys, 113. That's a good one there for AMD, so we'll have to watch out for them as they're continuing to go straight to the upside here for AMD. So good trade there as it looks to go. And there we go. We get out of our Neo. We'll hit the cowbell as we end the trade there on NIO. There it is, on NIO for a nice little 80-cent win there. We did have a $1.20, but we give back a little bit there just to make that cash. So there it is. NIO looks like it wants to come back to the downside.
And it looks like finally giving at least some semblance of a reasonable entry point could be this upstart here. Is like, oh my goodness, I just tried to get shares at the 369 and a half area, or 368 and a half. As you can see, there was consolidation around here in the pre-market. It couldn't even get towards, since the open, it's been absolutely dying, but it couldn't even get towards that 371, trying to get to the short side of this trade. And every single time, you put an offer in, it's just immediately turned. So it tried to get it as it came off of that 370 just now. And of course, as usual, it's going to try to get away from me. I'm not going to chase it. I kind of feel this move popping back up. There is that 350 level that it can still test. It's going to give you a chance, right? You just put in one lower high. I still think there's going to be a consolidation that we can play, guys. So I'm not going to be too greedy with it. There is a level forming at 850 on Fuel Cell, but I can tell you it ain't that big. For a stock like Fuel Cell that's doing all the volume that it is, it's up to 30 million shares or almost 30 million shares here. Just not a heck of a lot. I can show you, what do you get, 80,000 shares there, like 100,000 tops on the offer at 850. I do feel it'll get shown, it'll chew through that level. Then you're looking back up to that 875, 880, maybe $9 range. And I think you can start thinking about buying dips in front of that, I guess, VWAP range. Like I said, I'm not going to chase upstart. Allow it to come right back to me here. So, you could, if you chase this, essentially you're getting a first entry point of like 366. And we talked about this last week. If I know that chasing it down is just going to have an entry start like $2 worse, why am I going to do that? Like, there's no reason. It looks like we're bouncing here in both the market. NASDAQ about to turn green. So you got to be patient, right? This allows me to then wait around for it to get back up to this 72 to 75 and then see if we can add to the position to the short side there. Virgin Galactic seems to not care too much that the market is coming back up. You can see it's still holding consolidation below VWAP here on the lower end of its range. So, play the relative weakness where it lies, and it happens to be in Virgin Galactic. Speaking of strength here, Tesla, which is weird that as the NASDAQ just turns green right now, Tesla still trying to get through that high of the day. It still sets up for a bit of a break here. This is 862.66. It's a bit of a random price for a high of the day break, but the market just broke into positive territory, and this is the strongest stock out there. So, a top break, almost got to have it.
Oh, man. Missed opportunities, man. We still should be long this Apple. We talked about that one from here, but we got out double. I didn't even realize we had another offer there. Sometimes that does happen, and that's that. We did get out of our Neo. That's starting to go upside as well. Fuel Cell still 56 cents in the money and still ripping off of taking profits already on this name. So all is well here, Brendan.
Fuel Cell might be dragging this one along as well. Lithium America. There's been a multi-day move on this one, if you remember going back to the beginning of last week, but very positive to say the least again today, guys. LAC.
Oh, yeah, Fuel Cell, by the way, through that 860 level, so it looks like it is headed right up towards that 875 or so. I'm going to be taking it off there because at some point I started thinking about where the short's going to be. We just talked about Tesla on the top end break, was able to get it there. Didn't really take out, didn't really get to that 863 area, so it's not like it took out the high and then just started running, but the market's still turning into positive territory. Like I said, wait around for that upstart. Affirm's trying to slowly pull back in here, so I didn't get the last entry into Affirm. It didn't quite get to that 153. Jude, I know you're watching for that one. 153 from yesterday was the golden spot, so that's what I would have been waiting for. Unfortunately, not going to get it there. And same thing with Upstart. Market's taking out the highs, but it can't get to this like 75, 76 from the open. That's where I'd like to see it round off and slow down before adding to that position. And then, of course, as we mentioned, that fuel cell and that 860 area, it just turns around on an absolute dime. Second, I'm like, oh yeah, 875 we'll look at. It pulls off of 865 back into 850. I still think we're riding that train to the upside. I'm going to hang on to this one as fuel cell. It's dipped maybe like 5 or 10 cents at a time. So if it pulls back further than that, then we have to reassess. But for now, the trend is holding pretty steadily.
Okay, yeah, so fuel cell is starting to rock and roll there. Our GitLab, so that didn't go to the downside. I mean, it did go to the downside. It actually went to 105 there, so we did have a $1.50 win. Now it's $1.50, a dollar against us. So we're going to average into this one. I was actually waiting at 108. Where was I waiting? I thought I was close to that price. Oh, I'm actually waiting at 108.41, which is that price. But the thing is that, like I mentioned, but with all of the prints happening, dark pools and whatnot, you really got to get run over to get a fill. So we'll wait to see if we get run over here at 108.50. That's where we're offering. It comes right up. I'm actually offering 108.41. So I don't know how it prints 43s, but that's going to happen to you. So there it is. We talked about the liquidity on this one being sparse, so it is going to matter which gateway you're on for that. A good hold for us through space. We'll see if we can get out through $19. I didn't want to average into this one, so we held that. Obviously, that 1950 pre-market high was pretty damn key right there. And then on our sticky note as well, we just tweeted out that FCell trade, of course, was our Microsoft trade. And we talked about getting this one long through 304, 304.50 is right where we're at right now, back up to the pre-market highs. So this could be a good level here for a lot of us to trade through, but the thing is we've already broken through that 304. So yeah, I mean, taking this pre-market level that we liked down here, but there was just no volume, was 303.50, or actually was right down here, 303.25. That's now $1 plus in the money, so that would have been a good trade to take for us, but we didn't. So right now Microsoft back to all-time highs. 305.80 is an all-time high. So I don't really know where to take this one, but I like Microsoft. I think it just needs to come back in. Like our Apple, unfortunately, we dumped that a little too early. I really like Microsoft here, and I like PayPal. DraftKings starting to work. NEO still going to the upside, and AMD still at 114. Affirm 152. Wow.
And DATS is just getting... just 2 seconds ago we were talking about this. It broke that $10 range. It is headed lower. That 930 is that next support. So if I'm going to join this this sort of party here, it'll have to be on the way back up, not the way down. We'll look at maybe like 10 to 10 quarter, maybe to start a position on DATS here. I'll do a starter in front of 10 even, and then start thinking about like 10, 10, 10, 15. That 930 does sort of set up as a bit of a line in the sand. As for Upstart, when it comes to the patience game, this is what we talk about. Like allow it to test the high. It just got up to like, not quite to 376, or there's 375, 75, there's your 76, 77, then got about to 74 and then started rolling over. So I wait to add at that particular price. We got some more shares in. And then if the market turns around, I think we'll probably be helped out there. Fuel cell, just to come back to this one, it is breaking back towards the high side. I might cancel my offer sitting in front of 75 and allow it to look at the tape, see what happens to that quarter mark. If there's an offer there, I'll duck out like we're initially planning to, but I don't see any rush to get out the last of this trade. It does seem like it wants to trade higher. There is a lot of buy-side strength. The volume is holding up really well, which you can see there on the chart. Lots of volume holding here on fuel cell. I still think this is resistance up at 75 to 80. But hey, you want to see how it trades at these price levels first, and then I want to come back to Tesla. Right now, it looks like it wants to try to hold 58, 59. I don't want to add into this unless it's that price or VWAP, so let it consolidate a little bit. Lots of room to go to that 880 level, obviously. So if that's $15 to the high resistance on Tesla, you got to be willing to give it a couple of dollars here, at least 5, I would say. That's 3 to 1 even at that. 10 o'clock already, time flies.
Yep.
Brendan, what's happening now?
Not much in the overall markets, guys. We'll show you a bit of a flat picture here so far. The Dow actually in negative territory now, 0.25% to the downside. Well off the lows, which is good to see, and that we saw in the pre-market, the S&P as well. But the NASDAQ trying to lead here. You can see trying to go back to positive territory. The Russell 0.2 to the downside here in Toronto. We're basically flat as well. So unless you are in individual names that are moving this morning, the indexes, guys, not doing a heck of a lot so far. We'll flip over here to talk about GitLab. Yeah, a bit of a fade off that high. that we saw back on Friday. It did test initially that 114 area off the open there, but straight to the downside so far. Low volume, much lower volume today than the past 2 days, obviously, for GitLab. The other one, Baidu, same story, coming back to day lows here for BIDU. Guys, back to you.
Test again.
All right.
Yeah, Baidu, what a disappointment.
Yeah, Baidu. I don't trust some of these Chinese names. That's why I just was like, you know what? Is Baidu going down or up? Oh, it's going up, actually.
No, this is Virgin Galactic.
Oh,
Sorry,
that's Virgin Galactic. Okay, yeah, because the only name that I was really looking at, guys, this whole time was NEO. And you heard about why. I mean, we like NEO. We like it to the upside. It is now busting upside a little bit for us, but we're out of it. But there was a good bang, bang, bang on NEO. So that's, again, just watch out for that name being the only Chinese name that I really prefer to trade. But, I mean, they're great trades. Don't get me wrong. I switched up my board. I got to get rid of all these other pages. There's just too much on there. Hit the siren alert for a new trade here. As Disney, I think, is probably overdone now. We talked about the downgrade that they caught. Obviously not a great one, down to 171 today, down that 3% and just been sort of heading to the downside. If you look at a 20-minute chart, this is going to be a daily, but we've already talked about some of these levels down here holding. So I'm not going to hold this to the bottom. I mean, if it breaks, it breaks. They're obviously getting a downgrade today. So we still have yesterday's bottom, or no, this is not even yesterday's bottom. This is Friday. This is Wednesday's bottom right here, 171. So let's see if this can hold, man. 170.95. We'll give it a little bit more space below that, but we're getting very, very close. Right now, it's a 10-cent winner. Whatever. We don't care about that. But we will wait to see if it can make some moves to the upside right now. So here it goes. Right now, we're looking at this name, Disney. We have this. We'll average into this, but that low of 171 creeping up. So we'll try to average in a little bit to this, but then we're not going to hold it too much down, which gives us some good cover here, man. Because if I can take like a 30, 40-cent hit on Disney with the upside potential, we will do that. And then here's one more trade right now. So the idea we have here for GitLab, we did go short early and we're still holding it. We did have $1.50 in the money. Now it goes up against us, that $1.50. So we'll take one more average against VWAP and watch this 110 break. So if 110 breaks, man, it'll be a 250 hit and we'll work on it from there. But we're short at 107.50. Looking for some more bottoms. What happened?
Oh, we forgot SoFi today. Oh, SoFi 20. Thank you guys so much. Kevin Sanchez for the super chat, first of all. Second thing, for $20 on SoFi. 500,000 shares on the offer at $20. And look at the run. I mean, obviously,
Booyah.
Every single day last week we were looking at the stock, and then somehow not today. There was a lot to watch this morning. It's probably going to set itself up for, and apologies for everyone that's bullish on the stock. We were only going long it last week, but 500,000 on the offer and exactly $20. I mean, give me a break. Like I'm gonna take that scalp trade idea almost every single time I see something like this. So grab some 98s, and it's not like I'm not sitting here like we're gonna hold it overnight and hey, I'm gonna, what's his name again? I don't know, whatever he did. I'm not gonna Michael Burry this thing where like you're betting against SoFi. No. 500,000 shares, $20 even, big time runner. People taking profits after it just gave you a huge break at 1930 and another one here looks like at 1965. Look, profit taking usually comes in and you see a level like that, you want healthy pullbacks. Now, what makes this good for the bulls is that a lot of day traders go short in front of it like that and think it's a home run into VWAP, and then you can use that to your advantage, right? Like what'll happen is it'll go shallow because more people take profit in front of like 85s like I'm doing right here, and then it can't fall all the way back to the downside, and that's why it doesn't necessarily get back to 1965, 1975. There's too many buyers that have gone short near the top, and then when it breaks, they're all running to the exit, right? Like I just took my first profit, down there at like 93s on that pullback, but I'm getting out right at 20 bucks. I don't want to lose more than like 2 or 3 cents on this trade, and that's what everybody is thinking here. So thank you guys. We'll do the whiz action for the super chat, Kevin, and pointing out this big 20 level on SoFi. I mean, the daily chart speaks for itself. There you go. Like immediately breaks and just quickly out, right? So in and out, still a profitable trade as long as you're taking some out here at that 93 range. But SoFi, big time monster level. While that was happening, by the way, there was a new position alert for me. And SoFi, I should have reversed to the long side actually. I did get Futu while all this was happening. Futu now back to this heavy consolidation around 64 to 65 on Friday. It's trying to fill in the gap. I wait very, very patiently for it to come up to this price. I didn't like it anywhere else. I can tell you Upstart is starting to roll over a little bit here. It's trying to get down to what was the pre-market low at 66. So if it bounces off that level, I want to take some out. I want to rinse and repeat within that 8 $7 or $8 range, taking some profit in front. I'll take some out in front of the low of the day. Then I'm looking 350. So I don't know that you get more than a move down to 350 on Upstart today. So that's why I want some out the first third of that range, the second third, and then the final third if I'm looking for 3 entries. Got to be patient with these. I think one of the mistakes I was making last week was just, I get in way too early on moves. I take some out a little bit too early. So we're just getting a little bit more patient with the more expensive stocks that you have to give more room to run. Speaking of which, I'll check back in on Affirm, which never really gave me that perfect third entry. Look, it's going to seem like, yeah, but if you like 153, why didn't you add to it? Well, that's 152.30, and I was making this mistake all last week, taking bad entry levels. Each one of these has been a bit of a turn, and I could have scalped $1 here, and I could have scalped 70 cents, but what I'm trying to do is actually sort of build that short position for the flush all the way back into the bottom at 145.50, if not that 144.25. And this is all with the market going up, and now we're starting to pull back here on Affirm. Average price 150. I didn't quite get that last ad, but if I get a chance at it in front of 153, I will not hesitate. So Futu, the new position. FCell, by the way, 74 is a top. So it looks like as good as FCell has been, this might be it. And I did say I would allow it to trade up at that level. And what you're seeing happen as it gets up here is a bit of a rejection of that 75 and a consolidation, which would set you up for a pullback to VWAP. As I say that, I should be getting out of it. I'm going to get out. I'm going to ring the register on FCell. It sets you up for a pullback into possibly VWAP here. And now that's sitting at 830, which was this consolidation. Remember 830 on the daily in FCell? Yeah, so that was this consolidation, then a break. VWAP sits right there. I like the chance that it could turn around here, and then we can take advantage of that pullback by grabbing along in front of that 830 level. Always want to be able to rinse and repeat on names like this if you can. It's probably going to do a couple 100 million shares today, so it's not like you can't get back into the stock.
Yeah, so there. What price did you get? So I got 870 there. I think the same price close to.
I got 60 on the way down.
Okay, it doesn't matter. Yeah, so good trade there. As we also, man, will just rain it down on FCell, and that was going to be a great trade for us. And actually, we'll spin it today. We haven't done that today yet, so we'll do this today because we don't have any losers on board. Knock on wood for that one. We'll wait to see what happens right now with Space, as we have taken Space right now. So we'll see if this one wants to go. I don't know. Right here, we are taking one more shot here on Virgin Galactic into 1960. So that's going to be a level of concern for me. 1960 here on Virgin Galactic. So we're going to watch out for that play coming through as we just take an average price, takes out, and that's that wick right there. So if that gets taken out, man, then we're going to be gone on that one and give back a little bit of cash here from what we've done today so far. Disney seems like it's working out. So we'll go a little bit of a confetti action on this one as Disney right now nicely in the money. We took that 171.40, starting to rip upside right now as the market's going. So that's going to be a good one. I feel bad that we've dropped out of our Apple. That was a huge mistake. We could have got into that. We should have gone into more Microsoft as well on that note. But right now, Disney starting to rock a little bit here to the upside. Ooh, we just did tick up there. What was going on? That's a 1 minute chart. Okay, so that did go to 171.90 there, did it? I don't know if that's true. Did it just go there? Let me just check on my e-signal chart. Yeah, it did. So Disney does rip up there, right to VWAP, and then fall back down. So a big move down there on that. I don't know what just happened there, but Disney does go up here. So let's get out again if it happens. We should be taking 50 cents. So we'll do that 171.90. Don't know what that wick was all about, but there goes Disney right back to the downside. Look, still 20 cents in the money, but that was a weird one. So we'll see what happened up there. We'll put an offer around here, 171.80. If that spikes up again, we want to get out of Disney.
Yeah, so just to put in perspective here, Tesla still attempting that breakout. It did try to pull back, and I can maybe go back to the, there's your minute chart here. It did try to go back into VWAP, not quite getting there after I had the long. You could have had it in front. It got to 58, maybe looking a little closer to 57 there if it could have come down for us. It didn't see it happen. Now it's continuing its push into the upside. So, we'll go ahead and just have to hang on to what we got. I'll probably cover some in front of 870 and then on the way to that 880 level that we talked about. Futu does make another move in here, and I'll just go back to, because Friday's action's all I can really care about here. And this is that 65 and change. It's like 65.25. I'll give it to 65.5. But, I got 64 as a price. I think it's a reasonable $1.50 worth of risk. Even to VWAP now, you're looking at that's like 61, so that's 250. About a 1.5 to 1 ratio, so I can cover some around 62.5, maybe take $1.50, and then look for that. So I got a good stop area on Futu. I might use a hard stop at that 62.50 level just because I don't want to miss this stop. So I do have an order out for a hard stop there, whereas I'm just managing my other positions, Affirm, like the Tesla, and Upstart. I don't have to worry too much about those because I'm monitoring them a little bit closer to the vest. Virgin Galactic, Sean, you were mentioning that name. I didn't get this reload here, and I don't know, I was just talking about that a few minutes ago, getting back into the 650 level or 1950 area, and then managed to miss that reload, which looks absolutely golden. You're going to see it reject once again that 1950 price area, get to about 55, not even that 58. If it pulls back in, I do have a bid that I want to cancel, which is in front of 19, like 1906. I think it makes more sense to be covering again in front of that teen area. So I'll throw the bid in like 19, 17, or whatever you want to call it. See if we can't get some out then in that range. If it makes a higher low here, you are setting up for a bit of a breakout to the upside at 1960. As much as I thought that wasn't going to happen, you got to look at what's happening here today. The only thing that gives me the confidence that the short could still be good is volume starting to taper off.
Oh my
a little
God,
bit. So
what?
volume kind of dying down here on Tesla. Brendan, what do you got for us here?
Bad news for Zillow. Might be good news for Opendoor, guys, because quite a day here for Open, 5.5% straight to the upside so far. We're coming up to that last high there from Thursday, just getting taken out right now for Open.
This is why it's tough here. New view. This is why it's tough here. Thanks, Rob, for that. This is why it's tough here to trade multiple symbols. Like GitLab, we just had a $4 winner on this. Now we have a $3.50. So let's see if we can get it out here near this bottom, 104. Again, these are levels that we like. So I was actually waiting at 103.50 or so in here, but it just touched down to 104 flat. So we'll see with the spread being $1, like, you need it to open up a bit. So GitLab already, when your outs are lower than your ins, that's always a good thing when you're going to be short. So right now, $3 in the money on GTLB. So we'll ring the register on that one. If it touches 104 again, we may have just missed that move though. So that kind of sucks, but we'll wait to see if GitLab comes back down here. $3 in the money right now. I could just take this and grab $3. So that may be something that you want to do, but I'm going to hold out for GitLab just to see if it comes back in one more time here to 104. I just put a bid, probably a little bit too. Yeah, I don't know. 104.20. I literally put it right at the bottom here. So we'll see if GitLab can come back in. I like this name, but good short so far here. It's just, oh man, it would have been so much nicer if I had a tick down there. So we'll see one more move down to this, and we will get that. We'll see if we got, our out on FCell looks to be right. The out on Disney's forever going to freaking haunt me. So that sucks. And then Disney, man, we missed that out. We already talked about that, but damn it, we should still be long Apple. That's my bad.
And SoFi, so I guess that 20 level was pretty good. I mean, obviously I went short in front of it, and then it gave you the win, and then it sort of popped back into the upside, and it looks like it's absolutely gangbusters, just no end in sight for SoFi. Yeah, SoFi, the 20 break was huge. I mean, the daily chart's not going to give you a heck of a lot, but if you had to pick and choose, you're looking at 21 even, if not a slightly lower than that, like a 67. Maybe 67 to 21. That's a wide range that I don't know if I like. Upstart's going to make a retest here. I could have taken some out of Upstart. At the end of the day, like it comes in the money like about $2 or $3, but it doesn't really, to me, make a heck of a lot of sense when you're using a bigger range into the upside here. You got like 375, 377
GitLab
pre-market highs up here. You've got Affirm, which is about to retest that 153. Tesla continues to try to break out, but can't go. I still believe in this one to the long side. It tried to give a bit of a dip back here, and the market is trying to come back in as well. So this could be the one chance, if the market pulls back, that you might get that 58 to 59 on Tesla. But it looks like it's holding the high end of the range. This one could go any second.
All right, so there's your $4 winner right there. So spit it.
Money.
Couldn't be happier with this GitLab trade today. We're negative on absolutely nothing today. The only problem is our space is currently in space right now. So we'll wait to see GitLab. To me, that was pretty easy. I mean, we talked about these levels. We talked about shorting 107. I mean, if you just rewind the tape there in the pre-market, we did have that trade for it. And then you got a little bit too greedy, I thought, waiting for 102, or 103.50. Doesn't look like that would have been the case, but we did take that out at 104.20 there for $4.50. I mean, that was a good trade. GitLab, net-wise, going to be my largest trade today just because of that, just how dramatic that move was. So good job shorting that. We did pay, I paid 6 cents for the short and just took $4 on it. So definitely worth it there. A shout out to Arun. I'm sure he would have paid that price for a stock that's over $100. So that's a good move to the downside. So we will put that on the board. Yes. Sorry for the Dodgers there. 2 walk-offs. or last second wins there for the Braves. Congratulations, anybody that's long the Atlanta Brave futures there. That's going to be a good one for you as they're printing cash right now. But a good out on GitLab. We're done for that for now. And then Disney still that 20 cents in the money, looking to make moves back to the upside here at Disney. So I'm going to put an offer here, like I said, 171.90. See if that spikes one more time, and we'll get that out. 171.85 to be exact. That's where I'm going to put it out.
So a lot happening right here. We're going to test that 377 on Upstart. It just pulled back about $1 off that level. So looks like a failed break at the top. I'm also looking at Coinbase, which is about to get to 295 or close to getting to 295. That's a huge level on the daily chart. Forget about 300. If it chews through 295, I mean, it's almost inevitable it gets to 3. Watch out for 95. I like that for a bit of a short. You are seeing, just double checking on prices here. Oh, no. I moved that here so I can see. Yeah, we're holding 62,000, it looks like, on spot. I just want to make sure we weren't breaking through highs, but that 95 level still looks pretty good. I was just mentioning Upstart, guys. It goes to that 377 level. There we go. Just tested it, failed break there. So now on the way back to the downside, if it's going to hold, I wanted one more entry point at Upstart, one last one into not quite a firm because it didn't quite get to 153, but it might be close enough. So this will be the last spot for me on Upstart. Wait very, very patiently for it here. Each time, I don't want to chase it too far. I don't want to get in too early, but there's the curl off that high at 377. If I get it, I get it. I'm not going to chase it any further to the downside. And a similar thing with a firm as it gets to about 152.30. 152.50 it seems, not quite to that 153 on the daily, but essentially setting up exactly how it did on Friday. It tries to test that high, not even getting there, so a third lower high possibly being put in on a firm. I might have to catch this one on the way down as well. Again, don't want to be chasing them too far, but I am looking to get that last entry point into a firm up around that 52 to 52.5.
So I just logged into the, my account here, and I'm actually long SoFi at 1850, so 1854. I may just get out of this, man. We had to hold SoFi against us. We first bought in this dip right here, 19 or so, and then we bought again. Maybe it was 1850. So I didn't buy again until like in here, 17. So I ignored this whole dip down. I think this is definitely a gift here for SoFi as it's moving all the way to the upside. Probably going to cash some of that in, as you know, we lost on our lottos there for Clover. So we definitely need to get some money back here, so we'll cash in some of that change here on SoFi, just like we did on DraftKings. I still love SoFi, but again, a big time move to the upside. You guys know that I'm more dug in to SoFi. I have about the same amount of money involved, but obviously PaySafe is way, way, way worse. And wait to see where I wish that was the PaySafe chart. But PaySafe right here just continues to make a move down. Nice bump off 7 up to 8, but can't get going. I'm waiting for November 10th. That's going to be the most exciting day for me, as I believe. Anyways, it's just up in the air about SoFi earnings, or about PaySafe, but I believe it's November 10th. So right there, taking out $8 would be really nice, but I am going to get out of some SoFi as Palantir as well, starting to make moves now, bouncing off. This is just a daily chart. I like SoFi. I like Palantir down here at 23.15, and I still do like Clover around the $7, $8 mark. I think there's a lot of opportunities for that as well. But there's always opportunities with small cap. And here we go with Brendan over at the board. It's small cap recap time. Kill it.
Hey guys, a little bit quiet this morning as far as small caps are concerned. We were talking about this one just before the open. Oyster off the highs, obviously, but still kind of chopping around here. 15.25 was that last little pivot that we talked about just before the open. So that gave you about $1 to the downside on that initial flush. Had to be really quick though. I had orders out, so that was really the only way I was able to get filled because it came right back up. Fails again here at 15.20, 15.25. So I still have a piece of this. I'll give it back to this. Above that, 15.65 or 70, and then the top or high of the day, which would be the ultimate out if you were looking for one for OYST. ADMP, another one that has been very quiet, doesn't seem to want to get below this 135, 140, which was a support level in the pre-market. Very, very slow, but kind of grinding back to the downside. And IO, going to give that one to 220. This was trading at 140 on Friday, guys. Back over to you.
Good look there, Brendo. We're going to get the last entry point into Upstart. We talked about that little bit of a curl. Let's put in the final curl. Now I'm looking at that recent high that it put in. We're about 378. We'll take that one. While this was happening, you had Dat Chat, by the way, spike up to 1030. Previous pre-market highs. I was able to catch this just at the last second at that 1030 level. I just want to quickly jump back so you can see. This was essentially in the aftermarket on Friday, dipped down to like a 1050 area, and you had a bit of resistance just above there at 1065. So this one seems pretty safe. Just keep in mind 930. We talked about this from last week. Like 930 is going to be a bit of a support level. If it breaks through 10 again, going to watch out for that. When we'll flush a firm down the toilet, or actually do this one for a firm. It just took out that top. Now, this is top wick from last Friday, and it got to 154. So it does set up for a bit of a failed break here in that it took out 153.5, which is going to be that, not Friday, Thursday high, and then doesn't get through the even at 153.95. So right now it's setting up like a little bit of a failed break. So I might have ended up getting the top wick there and then not see the level truly go. I could have allowed it to trade up a bit above. I probably should have gone ahead and done that, similar to what I'm doing with Upstart. We'll have a quick look-see, because if it just holds consolidation, there's going to be a second shot at this trade at some point. Still Virgin Galactic not really doing a heck of a lot, which again, the volume tapering off in Virgin Galactic. And so it tries this, another push through the high of the day, volume dying down as the market trying to come back into negative territory. And I got last entry here at like 57s. I'm going to pop a bid in front of VWAP here just to make sure we're taking some profit on the way back in. But this one's still remaining relatively weak. I can tell you Tesla's not doing much of anything. And I could be in Tesla for the long haul here. It's broken, gone on the money about $1. It hasn't really pulled too far back into VWAP, so there's been no reload opportunities. I think at this particular point, you're just looking, okay, it's broken this. Oh, that's a daily chart. It's sort of trying to break this 863. You know, I can give it all the way back into like, you know, like that 57, 58 below VWAP, but if it wants to make the push, I still hold out to, that's not split adjusted, I still hold out to this 880 level on the daily. That's a lower high. It's got 900, lower high 880. And if that's where we think it can go, then ultimately in Tesla, you know, until it actually pulls back at least $5 or so, you know, or it goes in the money $5 or $6, there's really not much to do but sit around and then see if the market can taper off a little bit, or give you a bit of a dip buy, or just continue to break out as Tesla's been doing. So I could be in this one all day long as it stands. And then DATS, which we just added to just now, starting to pull back into VWAP. As we speak, I'm on the bid in front of 10 even. It just popped down to 10.10. I was on the bid at 08. It churns through there and breaks 10. Always watch out. I mean, DATS at any particular moment could always do one of those bid falling out there, and next thing you know, all your bids are filled and it's halting to the downside. If that happens on DATS, I would probably anticipate trying to cancel some of my bids and then see if you can't hunt lower. 930, the ultimate target there.
Okay, yep. We talk about DATS all the time, and we like DATS. So good trade there, Neil. That was a crazy, well, good luck anyways on that. We'll wait to see how it develops for DATS. I'm not working with too much right now. We did drop out on that NEO trade. That's too bad because basically we got it near the low there. I just thought that was going to crack. I mean, I was not expecting the NASDAQ to turn positive this early in the session, even though we're only an hour in. $1 in, an hour in. Same difference there, but nice move past 15,000 while the NASDAQ has just been exploding lately. So we obviously were not expecting, I was expecting it. It's all on the sticky note. If you watch here, we're talking about today, Apple long 143.50. I mean, that's $1 in the money. Space short 19.25. We've already hit that a couple times. It's not really doing anything now. We've talked about that. NEO long 37.25. We're long at 37.40. It's at 38.50. So that's $1 right there. Fuel cell. Can we do any better, man? Long on the $8 break. We tried to get longer through 7.25. That didn't happen for us, unfortunately. And then Microsoft long at 304. I mean, that trade also working out for us today as the NASDAQ, like I said. A lot of this goes as the NASDAQ goes, so it is what that is. We can check back here on our Disney trade. Damn it. I don't know what happened there on that spike. We should have got out there. Was getting close to VWAP. Those were some of the targets that we did have, but right now Microsoft or Disney just failing at this bottom. Looking to average in one more time to that. Our GitLab trade, we already took $4 on it. That looks pretty good. I know Trader Pratt will be talking most likely about GitLab pretty soon. SoFi's been a nice runner. I know you're
Holy
already,
crap.
You're already on a
You
firm.
see a firm? A firm's at 156.
Yeah, man. Yeah, man.
156. I mean, I don't even.
I talked about shorting that thing. I'm glad
I shorted and got run over. I mean,
Yeah.
you got to do what you got to do. It was my best stock last week, so I had to take a shot at it. A bit of a failed break here on Upstart, which is the one I'm actually looking to possibly get back into because it took out that 78. And apologies, guys, I'm now looking at Plug Power as well because that's getting right into Friday's 32.70 price. And again, this was hard resistance and was a lower high here at 33 as well. So plug off the schneid a bit, but starting to run in some crazy territory. But I keep staring up, and that's because of firm, right? So you take, I'll take the hit when it goes through that high of the day. But there's air up here, man. I mean, the air up there is, I guess that's like was the and one guy, whatever.
Jordan,
but there's,
I think, yeah.
Was it? Either way, there's just nothing. There's no levels. These are all-time highs here for a firm. So you can think about 160, but it's getting rather parabolic. At this price range to consider a breakout when the market just barely turned positive. Look at it hold. Every time it holds this multi-day level, it's almost like you should just try the breakout trade first. Instead, I waited for the top, so I could have had that long trade. I'll tell you the other difference here, because I did cover that Upstart. Now, the difference between Upstart and a firm is Upstart with a bit of a pullback and nowhere near that high. So at 400, it's much, much lower than that 400 now. You still have this 380 bottom from the top end of that range, which is trying to get into. So it's kind of a delayed move for Upstart here. Tesla's trying to break back out. The market is holding it exactly flat on the NASDAQ. So Upstart's probably the one that I would re-enter and not necessarily a firm because I can't find a re-entry into a firm. It would have to be some just random number like 60 or 65, whereas you still have the range in Upstart from about this 380 into that higher support at 385. Like that level looms. Those are the levels I wrote down before we had that flush, so I can always jump back into those. The only thing we got left on here, in addition, DATS and the Virgin Galactic, of course, is going to be Tesla, which is trying to go. I'm not offering till it gets to 870, and then if it breaks 870, I'd probably be thinking about somewhere between 75 to 80 for the rest of that exit point. Market wants to turn green. I'm just going to ride the long, which is working, which is, of course, Tesla. Only thing I really, really loved long today, other than FSL, was basically Tesla.
Yeah, and I consider you a little bit unlucky on some of those firms and Upstart trades, just like I was lucky on GitLab. I mean, this name could have gone as well. And, like Neil and I always talk about it, your trades could be infinitely worse or infinitely better. You always got to make sure that you have an out because, one wrong call should not finish your month or your day or your week, anything like that. So just be patient with some of the plays and hopefully they will be able to work out. You know what we haven't looked at yet? AMC, GME, things like that as it's 10:30 right now, 41.50. Wow. Okay. Last week we were long AMC a few days and short a few days and nothing, big holds. There it is. There's the play that we had on Friday, so I'm glad that showed up. $40.50. We ran that to the long side, so that was a good trade for us. 50 cents twice there, 60 cents on one of them. And then today, I can't really zoom out anymore, so let's zoom back in. Pretty choppy. This is not really the take that we like, but oh man, it comes right back into that 40.50 where we bought on Friday. So that would have been a good indication. Where did we stop on Friday here? Hold on a second. The 20-minute chart. Okay, so rate upside. So right now, AMC just kind of basing out at that 40.50. So those are, fantastic longs. If you can get them, it seems like that would have been too hard to get. But right now, we'll wait to see if it wants to continue its movement back down to 40.50 or not for AMC. But again, for me today, everything's working out. It's going to be one of these days for us, so we'll Street Fighter it out. The only problem that we have right now, and it's 99 problems and space is one, so that's really the only play that we have that's an issue right now is Virgin Galactic goes all the way up here to this 1960. This was going to be our out. We always give them a little bit higher than that, so the pre-market high there of 1960, we give it a little bit. Almost tapped out there on Virgin Galactic, so hopefully it can come back in. Not a bad spot to get some out right now, but I'm feeling like a play back in is what we're looking for. I'm short 1930, so if we can get a call back down here to 1930, we'll take it. We've already, got out for 20 cents, or no, that's not even 20 cents. That's 1925 out. Yeah, 1915. So that was only 10 cents there as it drops to 19. So watch out. There could be that wall there, 19 support for space. So we'll try to get out near VWAP here. Just try to lick our wounds a little bit and try to get out for flat and then see if we're lucky enough to hold. But Virgin Galactic 1930, I think we should take out if we can.
I know. I mean, I'm sitting in front of the quarters trying to get some profit on that one as well. DATS it probably might have made that move into 1050, which is the high of the day, and I might have missed that rollover there. We'll see what happens. I'll let it come up to that 1060 high one more time here as we hang on to that Tesla. I said I wanted to wait for Upstart. give it some room to try to take out that 380 level. So I was sitting there, I watched it turn, I put an offer in to try and catch it on the way back. There used to be cancel it right here. I just canceled that order. It broke, got right to 379 and like, I want to call it like 80 something. Then try to catch the short in front of it. And then I'm like, you know what? If I'm going to be patient, let's just wait for it. I actually want to see if it can't test 380. If I'm like the 380 range to 385, I want it to enter that range. Like, allow it to trap some longs. The reason the 400 trade worked so well, because it actually trapped people that were long 400, right? Like people were taking that breakout, and when it slammed back down and consolidated, it fell. And I think that's what I kind of want to wait for here. So I was about to short 79s. Now I'm going to look to see if that 80 doesn't break, trap some people, and get into the trade in that regard. If that can happen, then we'll get our entry point. Brendo, what's up, bud?
Just looking at a SPAC, guys. BowX Acquisition Corporation, just popping up here on volume. I'll double check on this, but probably announced a deal. It was sitting at 10, doing nothing. Heads up on BowX here, guys. It's 10:30. Let's get a quick check on how things in Europe are doing. Miss V, it is Monday. What is going on?
Hey Brandon, it's a negative day for European markets. Meanwhile, biotech company Valneva, trading in Paris, is up around 35% after posting positive data from late-stage trial of its COVID-19 vaccine candidate. Back to you.
Yeah, busy Monday, guys. Lots of individual names to talk about, but the market kind of flat.
Yeah, we're getting close to getting El Stop Auto here on actually space coming back down, so that's a little bit nice. But we're talking about Disney right now. We take one more fill here at 171. So our average price 28s now. We're going to give it just a little bit lower. We did have some target areas of concern for us here on Disney, including this level right here that we made on Friday, Thursday, Wednesday, 170.90. So that just touched out, so it's very, very close to a stop out here on DIS as the market coming in a little bit here. When you get downgraded, I mean, it's just not, and I think that's like what hit Affirm and Upstart here was this major market move. If there's gonna be a crash, man, sometimes it's these like high flyers that will bring it back into the downside right now. So Disney gets downgraded today, so when the market falls back in, very similar there, rhetoric, you know, if they're gonna hit a name, it could be a name that's already gotten downgraded. So we are going to watch out for Disney here. We do have those targets. Look, we're long at 171.28. I mean, we're literally 20 cents out. We could take this out right now and doesn't even dent our net here today. As once again, man, we have 0 LFT. So those of you that are with us on, Day Trade the World, you know what that means. No losses from our top. So right now we're at the highest spot we've been at all day. But of course, it is position pending right now. So hopefully that can go. Are out on FCell. Looking to reload FCell if we get back in here near the 8 area where we had some dips and dives right down in here, so we'll wait to see. But pretty good out there, 870, pretty much the high of the day, and pretty much the low once it broke through, not $8 right there at 930. So that's a good name for us. As here comes Virgin Galactic, Neil. So yes, sir, this one will get us out here. I mean, I'm trying to make a little bit of profit. I'm like you. I'm waiting at about those quarters. Hopefully we can just take a small bit of profit on some of it and then let the thing fall down and then just really, really start to put some of this on the board.
I'm going to do this because it's just sometimes it's easier to show you my other chart here. So I'll pop it in. I'm actually sitting on the bid in front of VWAP here, 33, and then I'll take some out a bit below this. So I've adjusted from that quarter mark. Remember I talked about capitulation candles on DAX and just sort of having bids out there? Well, it just did that thing where it had one all the way into VWAP, so I'll take that profit there, and then rinse and repeat. Like if it pops back into that high, I'll short it in front, just wait for the next leg down. Once it gets into this mode, DATChat, well, not always, but recently once DATS has gotten into this mode where it's gonna pop and drop like this, it tends to then show that weakness throughout the rest of the day. I talked about being patient and waiting around for Upstart for the second entry there, for the second play at it. And that would have been like a 79, and obviously, like you could be in the money like $3 or $4 if I took that trade, right? But because I wasn't taking $3 or $4 on it earlier or when it would pull back into VWAP, it's just not the nature of the trade I was looking for. I'm looking at the bigger horizon here. I don't think it's necessarily done, right? So if you look up to the 15 here and take a little bit of a step back, the last time it traded in this range, you had that 380 level. It pulled back into like 372 and then ran right to 385. So if I kind of think that's the same thing that could happen here, you got a pre-market low around 72. It could dip down into that range, come right back in, test that high, and then suddenly you're staring right back in the face at 380 to 385, which was what I was just saying I wanted to look for anyway. So that sets you up in a couple of ways. If you're bullish and you're long this and you bought in front of 350, It wasn't quite close enough to have been a dip buy for me. It would have had to be below 355, so I never would have had that long. But if you did grab that long trade, then you have some reason to give it back to 72, maybe put a trail there, and then allow it to, if it bounces off of that, you can cover 80 to 85, where I think the next short entry is going to be on Upstart. So I want to be very, very patient. You're getting to that time of day where things start to slow down. And I wish I could give an update to Tesla. I wish that if this candle was real, this dark print up to 875, I would have been filled. So you can tell that was, complete fugazi. That never really happened. It's still consolidating on that original breakout at the high of the day. It has not pulled back into VWAP. It has not broken 865. So both those things stand in play. If it breaks 65, it wants them out in front of 70, which we've been doing the entire time here. And I'm like you in Virgin Galactic. I think we're just hanging on for dear life there. That ADMP turned into a whole kind of a nothing burger. It's still managing to hold pre-market lows at $1.30. If it breaks this 130 level on ADMP, it's just going to set up for an obvious short. I mean, pre-market 7:30 dip to that price, 8:30 dip to that price. Since the open, 3 times it's dipped here and bounced, and not even been able to get to that $1.50 level, which is a big level on the daily chart. So ADMP is certainly setting up for a 130 break. Just all kinds of sideways action. It's about to cross 100 million shares, so there's volume to be had. But as cheap as it is, that's not an impressive amount of volume. You'd see Camber Energy do a heck of a lot more volume than this in the same price range.
Okay, yeah. So I only have right now on Virgin Galactic. So right now there's not a whole hell of a lot going on in my world right now. So we're just gonna wait to see what does happen. Let's check out Bitcoin right now, 62,000. So we're starting to go back to the upside here. We'll look at a daily chart, but check out the minute chart here on Bitcoin. That's what I'm talking about right there. Bouncing again just now off of 60, back up to 62,000. So a nice little jump off spot one more time for Bitcoin. So it continues to make moves to the upside on tomorrow's news of the ETF being released, right? So we'll wait to see where it goes. What's up, Aaron?
All right, so a quick search, guys, reminded me that this BOX is the WeWork, or potentially the WeWork SPAC. So a big pop up to 11, coming back in, fading off of some levels here. Still don't see anything significant, but heads up on BOX.
Okay, yeah, it seems like there's always different SPACs or different things happening around here, so we will look to see about that trade. And then other than that, man, I'm looking at Microsoft again, trying to find out what's going on with that. We're looking at Apple here. I would like it dip back in to 143.50. The NEO trade that we have was an absolute monster, $1 in the money. So if you guys had that, congratulations on that trade. Our Disney, though, man, we flushed that one as our only negative name as right now. We'll head to siren alert. There it is there. As it comes right back up. If we just held it, it would have been a winner. But we do get out there on that dip down. It was a pretty light trade, but it does dip. Oh, man, and now it starts to get going. So damn it. I will seek revenge on this name for sure, and it may happen now. So it's too bad I didn't see that. I was actually looking elsewhere, but I didn't see it get out. Like I said, it was a small piece, but still, a loser's a loser right there, as we'll try to ring the register on this name one more time and try to get green on it. It's not like a vendetta against it. It's just that I should have, like when you get that little wick bottom there, oh man, like we waited for it to hit and then it hits and we get out, damn it, to the upside. We got saved on space because we're looking at that out on the top side and didn't hit. So saved on space, not saved there. Ooh, look at that, goes right down to 33. Not saved on Disney. So yep, that's what that is. But right now, we're gonna go over to Brendan, I guess, at the desk, at the big screen with, what is the sector called? Sector Watch. What's up, Brendan?
Hey guys, yeah, pretty muted session so far overall for the S&P. You can see basically dead flat, down just 0.03%. A lot of big movers, but they're all kind of offsetting each other, including the energy group here. Big move back to the upside today after a couple of down days to end last week. 6.5%, 6% for Oxy and Apache. They're leading the way. They're all here, Fang, Devon, Marathon even, all up nicely on the session along with oil. Industrials then and utility stocks to the downside today. Consumer discretionary, specifically the retail names bouncing back once again. Again, a little bit weak to end last week, but you can see Etsy, AAP, TSCO to name a few. Domino's there as well, reported last week, 2.5%. CCL, NCLH, a lot of the travel names back in negative territory, again, offsetting along with healthcare stocks. Very negative so far today. There was a headline on Biogen in the pre-market there that got some negative attention to BIIB today. Moderna, though, bouncing back 2.7% to the upside. ENPH in the semiconductor group leading 3.8% to the upside. Tech stocks pretty muted, though, as well, basically flat. NTAP down, CDW to the upside, offsetting each other, as I mentioned. So tech stocks are basically flat. Consumer discretionary, specifically retail, strong. Energy stocks are strong, along with materials, you can see, in positive territory. Everything else to the downside. So we are exactly flat, guys. Now 0.02 higher on the day. Back to you.
Yeah, worth noting here, AMC, for those of you out there, I know we're 20 minutes, 19 minutes until memes and movers, and Pratt will talk about this one for sure. Just breaking 42, but a 41.80 break already happened. That is Friday's high, so that one is off to the races. I talked about Coinbase 295 being a bit of a level. You'll see me short here at 94.91. That's not on the way up. That was... Oh, Coinbase on the NASDAQ. That was on the way back downside. So I kind of put it in the chat there so people understand the thought process. Let it break that 95. If it consolidated here and rejected the level, that's one way to get in. Otherwise, break, sort of trap people in that 95 sort of breakout. Doesn't really get to 97. Yeah, it gets to 96, 98, so can't really stall it. It stalls out there. Puts in a lower high at 96 with like a 95 support level. So a couple of minutes of chewing through at a lower high. Then it reclaims 95. That's my entry point, stop high of the day. There was a cluster down here where it held support at 90, so I'd cover some in front of 91, I'd cover the rest in front of VWAP. At this point, I wouldn't necessarily be looking for this trade to break the trend. It's more that, fail breakout, trap some longs that went long at the high of the day, and then grab some out here at 91, and then probably the rest out at like 86, 87, back into VWAP. So this setup looking a little bit more solid than, of course, the ones, Upstart still has a chance for a re-entry point. I'm not sure Affirm has a setup that I even can make sense of, so I'm going to stay away from Affirm, maybe go back to Upstart. But Coinbase, looks like it wants to run just close to that bid, and then reverse a little bit here. So I'm not going to move my bid just yet. I'm going to keep it at that 91 level as that one starts to pull back in here. I wanted to take about $3.50 on that first exit point. I don't want to necessarily, capitulate on that just yet, because if you want to give $2, you want to make sure your profit targets make some sense as well.
Yeah, exactly, and that's the other thing too, right? You got to sort of trade your book and trade what sort of ideas come through, on the daily charts. We talked about what kind of charts we use all the time. So if you did have any questions, please ask us in the chat. But those of you that are watching know what we use. So okay, so that's that trade right now. We're still looking to make a little bit more on something here, including now that space has come back in a little bit. So we will look to see if that one, can be something here, down to 930 one more time. I can't believe Disney actually back positive to where our price was. AMC, what a great long that was. Congratulations, everybody talking on the chat about AMC right now. Should have looked at it, but again, just a lot else happening right here. So what's up, Brendo?
Another one just popping up here, Marqeta Incorporated, which is MQ. Citron putting a $50 price target on a now $23 stock, guys. So a nice pop from 22 up to 23 for MQ.
Bullish one? What? Citron?
Yeah, Citron. Yeah, well, remember, I think they said they stopped.
Yeah, that's right. They're only going
short reports because the guy kept getting run over. Okay, so AMC right now, which, you put out a bad report, you're going to get run over. Remember when they put one out on NEO? That was funny. Okay, so they put a $25 price target on NEO. How did that one go? Look at AMC, guys. Congratulations again. We'll find the thing that, again, I've changed my, there it is. I've changed my board because we have so many, thanks to Rob, again, for always adding more to our board here for the animations. But there goes AMC. Wow, and still pushing, man. Yeah, I guess people like movies. And there goes AMC right to the upside again. Lots have changed with AMC lately. Is it going to be a short squeeze? I don't think so, only because I'm just not sure what the short availability is right now. And we'll check this out on Trade Ideas. Shout out to Michael Noss, who does come and visit us every other Friday. So we'll have a quick look here and what the short percentages are here on AMC. So hold on, give me a second here. We'll just have a quick look. And I know you guys all probably know this. I just want to see what the update is on this. I remember when I was long, I had $2 calls on this way before all of this, but there it is. Okay, so still 18%. So still quite high here on AMC. So yeah, traders could get blown out of this. So let's watch out here for AMC. It's still making moves to the high side. We'll close that for now. But wow, I can't believe how well this is held at 30 there, down on the downside, now up to 42. So AMC bulls have been rewarded kindly, and you're getting another 5% today, guys.
Yeah, and I did finally got that fill on Virgin Galactic. I mean, this stock is just taking forever, so I think we're going to be doing like a slow grind on this, which
Where
I'll
did
use
you
this
get it
key for
filled
you.
at?
If it puts in another high here around that 55, 60, the same thing that we had before, I think that's your only reload spot. Like, we've been really, really picky with this thing. You had the breakdown at 25 in the pre-market, then you waited for the spike and got the curl, waited for the spike and got... This was the first call. It actually gave it to you again here at 57. And each time, I'm always taking some out in front of VWAP, and we're not getting the break just yet. So we do get Coinbase, however. And again, like, just keep in mind here, I actually, you know what's it's kind of funny, Sean, is oddly enough, this is weird, but that 97 top, briefly, very, very briefly, for about, I'd say it looks like maybe a minute and a half, I was green on my long-term position in Coinbase.
Oh.
Yeah, that was short-lived. So anyways, again, not trading our own books here because that's what you got to do as a day trader. I still shorted anyways. It just gave me that fill at 91. So we're going to very, very quickly grab $4 there on that trade. If it does consolidate lower here, again, 95, 96, or maybe shy of that 95 level, then I would go ahead and reload that trade and see if it can continue further. You did have this on the daily chart here. This is about like 94 and change. That's why we were looking at this price range for a turnaround. So far, so good with this, but you saw how Upstart and the firm went. By the way, Upstart, so I said, yeah, wait, why not? Let's wait for like 380 to 385 is a bit of a range. Well, 379 certainly looks like it would have been the top, but I'm not going to change my approach here. Ultimately, I think it still challenges that 380 top. I think there's still some people that would just hung on to the short, waiting for the 380 break, so it might still need to run a few more stops before it could eventually come back in. And this is sort of, that 380 to 385 range from there to here. This is what the market's doing right now. This is the other reason why I think you'd be patient trying to go against one of these. I'm going to hang on to Tesla long. We're just breaking through or attempting to break through, last week's highs in the NASDAQ, and we're holding a good bid here. What's worth noting, by the way, the ES is sort of teetering shy of Friday's highs and barely negative. So this is being led by the tech. As you can obviously see by some of the names that have been strong today, and the ES is lagging, but if that turns green, I'm just looking back and breaks like 44.67, about 6 handles away. If that breaks as well, then it's a gangbusters long. I would consider even, even dropping my offer back on Tesla a little bit closer to that 75 mark, at least my first offer anyways.
Well, FSL right back to 860 right now. Riot making some moves here. Prague as well. We can check out Prague right now as we're getting close to ending the show and passing it over to our memes and movers with Miss V and Trader Prad. So Trader Prad and Trader Prague right now coming through. So right now, nice little upside move here on PROG. What is the name of this company as well? I just wanted to keep calling it. Progenity Inc. Okay, so moving to the upside. This name has been moving for about a week or so. Look at this top side, 270. So just watch out if we get to that level. That's going to be a short probably at 270 there on Prague. So just get ready for that. I mean, you were just at 50 cents. And now you're at 250. So, a nice little move up there. There is, if you're looking at it longer term there, $4 maybe for a spot. But again, a nice move up. Recent highs here on Prague, 270, something to look out for. Okay, AMC is getting close to a short. I don't want to say it, but we are getting up there on AMC. If you look at where we are right now, 42.50. Hopefully, there it is. And here's the daily chart. Just not to see much on there. On the 20-minute chart, we just shorted that. So there's no really wick off top here, which we like to see. So I'm not sure the buying is done yet, but it did already hit that 42.70. And again, there's not going to be much here on a daily chart, as I thought there was, but there isn't. So I don't know. I don't really have too much to say. I thought maybe this 44 might have been an area, but that's 44, not 43. So like I said, I still think there's more room to go here on AMC. Let's buy some right now off of this 42 bottom and see if it can continue to go to the upside. So right now, taking a risk here on AMC to the upside, I think it's worth it right here. 30 cents worth of risk. Let's go.
Absolutely, and a few names, only 10 minutes to go here till we trade you off or pass you off to Trader Pratt. But LMFA, this is an interesting range it's put in. It almost looks like, when I see this like very clean, like all these bottoms at 95 to 520, it's like, oh, it's almost too obvious the levels it's putting in. If it breaks down below this price, the volume is so low on this that you could have a DATS type moment. This was a trade last week, and it took out that top at 550. I never got back into it, but it would have been an absolute gangbuster if you did. So I kind of look at that top end of the range and say, okay, if it had come back into 550, I'd already be in this trade. And I'm allowing it to press higher. So I'm going to sit this one out. If $5 broke, you could be in a hurry back to this 450 support. So I'd watch out. If you're holding a great long that you got on like a 4 break or a 450, just watch out for the bottom end of this range. It looks a little, interesting is a word I'll use, suspect up at the top here, given how low the volume is. Just I'd watch out if that $5 were to break. It's more like a 4.95. I talked about Coinbase and we talked about Tesla. I'll go back to DATS for a quick second. It's essentially just holding VWAP right now. And every time it's done this for a bit, sometimes you get that big time, like I said, capitulation candle. If it breaks 10, I am already sitting here in front of 985 and then again in front of 965. So I will get taken out if it does one of those crazy flushes, but I'll still be in position. I'll still have half the shares just in case this wants to make that move down to 930, which we mentioned. Remember I talked about Upstart waiting for 380? Well, Upstart just actually broke 380.
Wow.
Went like 2 cents. By 2 cents, I mean 75. And it's come right back in. So bit of a fail break here at the top on Upstart as we send you to Brendan. It's time for Money Talks.
Hey guys, yeah, time for currency look. Anyways, pretty quiet morning so far as the overall global currency market is concerned. We'll focus on Bitcoin here because that's a pretty good looking daily chart. We were talking in the pre-market there. It was the end of September. We were at 41. So now back to all-time highs. That's all-time highs up there, 65,000 for Bitcoin. Straight higher. It is actually red on the day, but not much, 62. And change, same story for Ethereum. Nice looking daily chart as well. Ripple not faring so well. But you can see the rest of this board basically exactly flat. Turkish lira making some moves back to the upside. New Zealand 0.2 to the upside, but everything else unchanged so far, along with the DXY, guys, the US dollar exactly flat. Back over to you.
Dollar flat. Remember, tomorrow we get those Bitcoin futures contracts coming through. So we'll see how it trades first day. We've mentioned at least a couple of times, and now we'll say it like at a millionth time. It just feels like a little bit of a sell the news type of event. As you were mentioning, Sean, that Coinbase IPO was essentially right. I mean, it wasn't right here at the top. It was technically the following day, but you saw what happened in the days after that. The pullback was to 47,000. So I wasn't pulling it out of thin air when I was like, okay, well, first dip might be maybe to like 454 just because that was recent support, and then back to 47,000 because that's literally what happened last time. So I don't think you have to get too creative with it. If it dips back to 54, not a horrible play. I mean, that's a great buy anyways, just because it's sort of just above that 10% mark. So go pull back 10%, get some stop triggers, and then buy the 54. And then if it pulled back even further than that, you go like a 25% pullback. That's just not an all in, but that's where you stick even more. If you really, really like it, that's where you stick even more money in. So that's what I'm looking for in the next coming days and weeks in Bitcoin off the high. And if it breaks the high, well, that's great. I mean, if you're holding along and you've never sold anything, then you can be rewarded in that regard as well. I talked a little bit about that DAT chat and I'm probably not going to trade that LMFA because the volume's not there. But as far as DAT chat goes, at this point, if it does bounce off this $10 a couple more times, I would probably at least think about, getting another bid out in front of that 10 and then just adding them more aggressively in front of this high of the day. It is sort of setting up here that you could have a lunchtime range, and if it plays in this range throughout all of lunch, you want to at least make some money in here, in the 20 to 25 cent range, which is a good return on a $10 stock. So I will get more aggressive if it wants to hold like a 30 to 50 cent range, and then try and scalp 20 to 40 cents out of that if I can over and over again, while maintaining the core short as long as it holds that high of the day.
Yeah, and that's the thing, like holding on to some trades because you do believe in them, right? And, it's not going to happen instantly like this AMC did happen instantly. So we'll go one more time for Diamond Hands because they're not Diamond Hands. Obviously, I didn't get out. You're still on them. But there it is there. Let's see if we can fly a little bit higher. We're not trying to have Diamond Hands. We're trying to get out here if it can come back upside. We made 30 cents there in about a minute there, and we didn't take it. So a little bit foolish. We'll probably get burned on this trade. Looks like it's tested the upside a couple times there, and the buyers this time seem to have gotten exhausted at this 42.60 level. So I don't have huge hopes for this play, but hopefully AMC can get back upside, and then we will get it out again like we did on Monday, man, when we were I don't know if my trade's still going to be there. No, it's not. When we bought here on this 40-50 break and got it out before it did fade back in a little bit. So we'll wait to see here. Damn it, we should have taken that out right there, 430 plus cents. But we missed it on that one, so that was a missed opportunity for sure. Facebook, man, wow, 331 and rocking. Might be time to get more money into FB soon as it's held those bottoms. What's up, Brendo?
Big names, as we said, to come this week, guys, for earnings. Tesla, Netflix, to name a few. That is the wrong page. If we could change that. Johnson & Johnson and Procter & Gamble, the notable ones for tomorrow morning. There we go. Try that one on for size. There we go. Dead center.
Yeah, when we say it's a big earnings week, it's because, look, it's all about the supply chain right now, and looking at some of these sort of retail names and how they come through, and in the numbers that they report, they're pretty big, especially for a Procter, right? Like, that's been a great place in my mind. They have great pricing power. I own Procter, obviously I probably mentioned like a million times. And then watching for Johnson & Johnson, because it's sort of the similar sort of aspect there. I just want to see how the overall economy is doing, and I want to hear what those CEOs say with regards to the supply chain, because I think if you get the only way we're really continuing this bounce is when some of those concerns are alleviated. You got a little bit out of that in terms of Apple's reaction to their concerns and sort of dropping back production, and then we'll see what happens. I did get that reload finally back into Upstart. It tested 380. It broke it once, twice, 3 times, and failed. Well, I'm not waiting for 385. If it fails 380 break and traps some longs like 3 times, I'll jump back into it at 379. But it was all about being patient with it here, not necessarily holding on to the highs. You don't want like it to do what a firm did and drop and go another $10, guys. So I stay off that one. Get back in at 79s. I already know what National Day it is, but we still have to find out.
Yeah, it's National Make a Lot of Money Day right here, because there it goes again. We'll fire off some hot dogs, because there goes AMC. We didn't have to wait for too long for this 30-cent win there. As today's just been one of those days where it feels like Superman is in the building. So it's been good for us so far today. The only trade that's been a negative one for us has been Disney. Other than that, it's been a good one for us. But let's go over to Ms. V when we're ready for the National Day. What is it, Ms. V?
Thank you, Sean. And hey, guys, I think it's a wonderful start of this trading week. Nasdaq turned green, and let's see what happened to the rest of the market. Guys, please, we need your help. Make sure you like this video. Your support means so much to us. And welcome all the new members, all the new subscribers. Me and Prad are super excited for memes and movers right after this show. And happy National Chocolate Cupcake Day, everyone.
Classic. Simple, delicious. Everyone likes cupcakes, and chocolate is, what I'll say probably one of the most, I guess, I think
it's the most popular.
It's the best flavor. What are we even talking about here? I love a cupcake. I'm probably not going to have them for lunch because our pastries come in the morning, and I already saw that we did not have any cupcakes. But let us know what you like. Fudge Day is pretty good here. Brendan, can you possibly not like cupcakes, chocolate cupcakes?
I feel like we've had this conversation already in the past. Yeah, no, I'm not a huge fan of cake, guys, in general, so I'll take a hard pass on that one.
Wow, Neil. You got to remember that about Brendan, man. He's a hard pass on some of those desserts. And good for you, Brendan, as, cupcakes. Look, whatever. I mean, cupcakes are so tasty, regardless of what Brendan says. But, I think he likes the taste of them, but he's just more on the health side of things. So
He is, though.
He is. So good job, Brendan, for that one. And, cupcakes for me, very, very nice. And I agree with you. I like, what we've been having lately? Those Girl Guide cookies, because someone at the kids' school is selling those, and those are very, very tasty. I prefer the vanilla ones. But
the Girl Guide cookies, they changed the recipe a few years back.
Did they? Okay.
And I'm telling you, man, it's not the same. And I used to be gangbusters, love both both
I still feel they're really
Now
tasty.
I like the chocolate. The vanilla is not so good anymore. And that's just my 2 cents. Whatever the old recipe was, you need to go back to it because it was absolute fire. Speaking of fire, Trader Pratt and Ms. V are always fire here today. Tesla's essentially been going back and forth flat, so I'm kind of curious to see what Ms. V did with it. Hopefully not short, because it is still technically up on the session. But you're about to find out as we head to Memes and Movers with Trader Pratt and Ms. V.
Welcome to Memes and Movers. It's October 18th, Monday. Brand new week over here. Miss V, how are you today?
I'm great, Brad, and we're both wearing green. It must mean something. And hey, guys, thank you very much for joining us today. I hope you had a great weekend, rested well, and ready for a productive week. Please smash the like button. And let's